Okay. Going to call this special meeting to order, the Board of Equalization. It's Tuesday, May 14th, 2024. It's 9:30 a.m. And Ms. Teresa Sellers.
Present.
And Ms. Thompson and Mr. Town is out on medical today, but we have a quorum of 2. So we have 12 items on our agenda. This is how this goes. When I call your case, you come forward. I'll let you go first and tell me why you think your property is only worth what you say it's worth. And then we'll let the assessors have his say, and then you get the last word. We do not make a decision today. We meet on Friday and make our decision. Go on Thursday this week and make our decision. And then by mail, however quickly it travels, you'll get a letter giving you the decision of what valuation we actually set. Okay, so first up on the agenda is BOE item 448, William R. and Nancy J. Roberts Living Trust. That you come forward and have a seat. This is BOE 448, address 2625 Sweet Briar, account number R126771090. Are you Mr. Harris? I mean, Mr. Roberts.
Yeah,
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Roberts.
I'm looking at the next text. Okay. My paperwork indicates you think your property should be valued at $55,000, and the assessor started out at $78,500.
No, 516,458.
Okay, so what did I turn on?
601 is what the assessor says.
I turned my paper over, read it wrong side. Sorry, this is 448 2625 Sweet Briar. I gave the right number, 601,000 for the assessor, and you think only 516,458. Okay, tell me why.
Okay, there's 2 things I'd like to talk to about. First of all, is this value.
Yes.
And why I think 516 is closer than the 601.
Okay.
And then I'd also like to talk about the practice of the assessor of not honoring, I believe, does not honor the decisions that the Board of Equalization makes. Okay. So, and you have I'm assuming you have my packet, and so I'm not going to go in all detail, but I submitted what I said were the best 3 properties in the Fair Cloud neighborhood. And that's where I came up with the $516,000. The assessor accepted 2 of those and then provided 4 more to justify the 601. And in there, in the packet, I've talked about what I see as the issues of the assessor's picks. And I will note that 2 of them were sales in 2022, which was a very good sales. And so why he wanted to go back that far to get high value properties is obviously, I've been here a couple times and I usually don't see people, they don't go back that far. And then one of the properties actually has incorrect square footage, which adjusts the price more towards mine, and I did put documentation in there about that particular property, and it's been square footage had been checked, and so just showing where the assessor, the system does not have the right square footage.
And which one is that?
It's 20.
Which comp number?
1700 Mission Road.
It's comp 1. It's assessor's comp 1.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And so those are the basic things about. I believe, talking about the second part, is this board is going to make a decision today. I hope it's 516. Probably won't be. I hope it's not 601. But that value will not be put into the mass appraisal system. So 2 years from now, I'll be coming back here again because the 601 is there, plus there'll be another increase next year, and the following year, 2 years, it'll be whatever it is, but the value, the 601,000 that we're talking about today stays in the system. And I don't know if the Board of Equalization realizes that this is the practice of the assessor. If you don't know that, you ought to be asking the assessor, why does he do that? If you do know it, then you ought to tell every person like me when we show up here that you may get some relief today for this year and next year, but in 2 years, it's gone away, because you're going to be disputing the same market value that they have proposed.
Well, when you're top one, how incorrect do you think they are? Is square footage less or square footage more?
Oh, it's more.
Because the assessor shows it's 3,912 square feet, so how many do you think it is, and why do you believe that?
Well, the appraiser showed, it's actually 4378.
And you get that number from where?
I got that from, and it's in the package here, but that house is sold, and when it's sold, they did a square footage, and this realtor that gave me some information showed that. And I also showed you the picture, an aerial picture of that house. And it's actually the same, it was built by the same builder as my house, but they added bonus rooms upstairs, and somehow that never got put into the original or into the record. So, and so my very last attachment, and this is complicated, attachment 7 shows how the assessor got to the 601,000. And he did it by ignoring, or he did not include the settlements or the decisions of the board in 2019 and 2022 were not put into the mass appraisal system. And so then those, what we settled in those years, the settlement was only
From
short
22 and 21, did you say?
in 2019,
Oh, in 2019 and
2022. I was here 2 years ago. And there was some gentleman down here at the table made a point to tell him how many times I've been to the board. And it really kind of struck me funny, because I really didn't think that was relevant. If I'd really been thinking, I would have, because I'd figured this out a couple of years ago what he does. I would have told him if they would just put what you decide today as the new baseline in the mass appraisal system, I won't have to come back here in 2 years.
so are you saying then that the amount that the BOE decides on in those years is not reflected on the assessor's website, the valuation for those years? Is that what you're saying?
It's not reflected in the mass appraisal system.
Okay.
And that's what then determines the market value, the starting point for the market value, and then. So,
Okay. Well, we'll allow, when it's the assessor's turn, we'll allow him to speak to that.
So, and again, I know this mass appraisal thing gets complicated, and I'm kind of an oddball because I've lived in this house for 30 years. And so a lot of people, you move, you're done, this thing makes it look pretty good for a couple of years, but then it comes back to it. And I'm willing to spend time with anybody with the board or the assessor's office to show them what's going on with mass appraisal. Although they probably know it. I mean, it's a simple yes or no question. You take whatever you decide today and put it as the new baseline for the mass appraisal. I mean, I don't think they do, but that's my facts. That's it.
Okay.
Can you speak to what it was that you didn't like about the 1601 Mission Road comp of the assessors? That was the assessor's comp too.
1601. Yeah, 1601. This property added a $55,000 swimming pool in 2007, where my swimming pool was part of the original price. So then when they spent $55,000, then their market value jumped and it's always been higher than mine.
And so is it that you believe that that's an unfair adjustment?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
What year did you say they put the pool in?
2007.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see it if you look in you can see their market value on that
Yes.
particular house went up to $55,000 in 2007. And then it's carried on.
But you said you don't think that's right?
It's not a fair comparison because my swimming pool was put in 1992 when the house was built.
Okay, Mike, what do you say?
Okay, my name is Michael Frangione. I'm a valuation analyst with the Oklahoma County Assessor's Office. Mr. and Mrs. Roberts have purchased this property in July of '92 for $293,500. We currently have it listed at 3,658 square feet. We have it on as a very good quality, which is the second to the last top quality we can have a residential property on. Year built in 1991. The 2024 value and notice of decision is $601,000, which puts it at $164.30 a square foot. The requested value is $516,458, and that puts it at $141.19 a square foot. The median comps that were provided support a value of $620,278, which puts it at $169.57. The 2023 value and the 2022 value were at $477,000. The original value in 22 was $485,000, so it was lowered to $477,000. Mr. Roberts was on for the same price in 2019, 2020, and 21 for $413,317. The $413,317 number was based on a board decision, and the original value for that year before the board lowered it was $428,000.
And that was what year?
That was in 2019. And then 19, 20, and 21, maybe it was on for $413,317. And that was, it used to be where board value used to be established for 3 years, and that was under the previous assessor. And those parameters have now changed, where we're only going to be on for 2 years. The location of this property is East Danforth and North Coltrane. The owner's comps, a couple of them were actually pretty good comps. 1700 Mission Road and 1509 Morningstar Road, or Morningstar. Mr. Roberts did provide 2608 White Fox Circle. We eliminated that one due to the high amount of percentage adjustments at almost 24%. The square footage of that property is 2,977 square feet. So we threw that one out because it's such a huge outlier. Whereas, based on the information we have, 1700 Mission Road, even if the square footage is different, we have 3912, and I do want to speak on that. After looking at the information we have, there is no MLS listing based on a recent sale, and that we could find, and this is our sales team that will look at all that information. There were no permits that were taken out on the property, so we have no clue about if there was any kind of additions. Sometimes open space stairwells will account for square footage, but here we don't factor in the stairs as being a part of the square footage. I'm not saying that's the case, but sometimes that can happen. So even if it is 4378, we don't have any kind of record of there being any additions because there's just very limited or no information. So we have to go with what we've got at 3912. But yeah, the owner's comps, the median value is at 559,364, and the mean is 552,788. And then, but
Sorry,
yeah,
can you repeat that again? So with the owner's comps, are you saying just looking at his comps or just with the two that were included?
no, just looking at his comps, which includes that outlier, the median is 559,364, and the mean is 552,788 adjusted value. And then,
Oh, so you're saying even with his, he's way off at the 516?
yeah, he's still going to be way off. Yes,
But that's after you adjusted his comps using your algorithms.
correct. That is correct. Now, if I use two of the owner's comps and another, because he is right, we did use 23 and 22 sales, and we can go up to that. We can go back in time at least. The latest we can do is 2020. We try not to go that far back because we can use it 4 years.
Is this a low sales area?
No, I mean not necessarily. There are some sales that take place in the last couple of years, but it's not like an overabundance. But I went ahead and did some analysis. I still used two of the owner's comps, and then I provided another comp that was closer in characteristics, which is 1808 Rising Star Lane. That's 0.15 miles away. The two that he provided, 0.08 and 0.18 miles away, but the 1808 Rising Star Lane has a square footage of 3506. The total percent adjustment on it is 11.36%, but I'm using it because it's a 23 sale. The adjusted sale price on that is $680,141. So if I use the comp that I added and two of the ones he provided, both are all three are 23 sales, I get a median value of $603,648. And he's currently on at 601,000, so I don't see any reason to adjust the value.
Is there a reason why you chose that comp, which was your previous comp 4, over comp 2, your previous comp 2, which is closer to the subject property?
2 is closer.
I guess it's smaller in size, so perhaps it had
Bigger.
bigger adjustments.
Yeah, it had bigger adjustments, and the sale adjusted value on it's going to be up to $622,000.
Did you speak to his issue of the 601, no matter what we do, staying in as a baseline for the mass appraisal? Is that even true?
I mean, the value is reflecting the activity going on in that area for 2023.
But if we came in, let's say we came in at 550, what would be the baseline in the future? The 550? He's saying that it should be the 550, but that it's still going to be the 601. Is he accurate in that?
If you lowered it to 550,
Yes.
that would be more than likely the value for the rest of the year. But then it would immediately go back up the next year if there are sales to solidify that.
But it would go up from the 550. It wouldn't go up from the 601.
But is it because your mass appraisal system is based off of sales
Correct.
and not off of assessor's valuations?
Correct. Yeah,
it's based off of market sales.
It's based off of market sales, correct.
So that's the reason why they don't take that into consideration. You're right. Next year when they come back and look at it, they're going to rerun all the same comps or whatever new comps have come in and base their decision based off of those market sales.
Okay.
But yeah, I have nothing further.
You get the last word.
In my packet, there is a sheet, and it talks about sales in the neighborhood last year. And there's nothing in there that says my house that I'm going to get $160-something per square foot if I was to sell my house. I mean, nothing in the neighborhood that sell anywhere close to that. So,
Because of the age of your neighborhood?
no, well, it's just what's in the neighborhood.
Okay.
It shows the housing lists, what they ended up, days on the market, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
It's not a great market. And like I said, it just shows that there's no way I would get whatever that $165 a square foot.
164.30.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Okay, thank you,
Thank
thank you
you.
for your time.
so item 2 on the agenda says person present. Okay, item 2 on the agenda, is BOE 458-7304 Nichols Road.
Yeah.
Who's that? Okay. Are you Mr., is it Joe?
Yes.
Do you have the patience with Joe?
Well, we're gonna find out.
I'll be back.
Okay. Okay, so this is number R169-61-10-65. My notes indicate you think the proper valuation is $1,939,547, and the assessor came down from 2698 to 2,376,500. So you guys are about $400,000 apart. Okay,
I guess I'll start with when I called in and did this. If you look at the 2022 market value
yes.
and the 2023 market value, I couldn't get an explanation how it went up $700,000.
What was it in 23?
23, 2.878. So unfortunately, I wasn't around to be able to come in here and do this. So, and we had just moved into the house in 2022.
What did you pay for the house?
It was 2.175.
Okay,
So they had the values and taxable market values exactly the same in 2021 and 2022. In 2023, the market value went up $600,000. And so I phoned them, you know, in regards to that this year and said, I don't understand. I couldn't get an explanation to that. And what the proposed amount was on the market value was somewhere just short of, I think it was 2.6 and change.
2.69.
Yes, so
Almost
let's call it
0.7.
2.7, okay? Where's that even substantiated with where I live, the raise in that, and an explanation which I have yet to get from the appraiser as to how that
How
happened.
would it have gone from
Well, I mean, how does-
28 to 27?
Yeah, explain that. I mean, I don't understand. There's nothing there to support it. I've asked, how did this happen? And I can't get an explanation. So that's kind of where I start. And that's kind of the beginning of my frustration of not getting an explanation. So what I asked was when the comps were sitting in, unfortunately I wasn't here, someone else did the comps for me, so I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants. I have their comps and I have a couple of mine. I asked to submit my next door neighbor, okay, which was sold in 2020, because it's accurate. Well, there's two houses on the block, this gentleman and myself. His house is about 1,200 square feet larger. Sits on the same size property and has been redone since they purchased it, which my house has not been touched. And their tax value is 1.6 million. So I can't get an explanation. I was told by them that's not a reasonable comp, my next door neighbor. So I said, okay, that's fine. 3 houses have been sold in 2023 in my neighborhood. You have 7203 Nichols Road, which is, it says comp 1. You have another comparable, which is Westminster, 7203. It's 2 houses down from me, okay? On their on their listing here on the taxes, they have it at 6,000 square feet. It was just bought, and in the records, it says it's 7221 square footage, you know, by a survey that was done and sold. So you've got a house that's very comparable, actually larger than my house.
Where's the square footage on yours?
The square footage on mine is 7157. There's another question mark.
As
right?
the assessor shows it, it's 7408.
That's right. So, and I sent them a survey of when it was bought. But here's the issue I don't understand. When I bought the house, it was 50 on the tax records. It was 5909. Okay.
Square feet?
Yep. And then all of a sudden I purchased it. Now it's 7,400. Where'd that come from? It's like the,
When you bought it, it was 5909.
that's what I was on the tax records, okay?
Okay,
What it said on the on the MLS was 7167. You all came up with 7157. That's fine. We're within the ballpark. But where did this all come from in 2022 and 2023? The 7400. I don't even understand that. I don't understand how it goes from 5900 to 7400. So if that's the case, and my two comps, both these comps were just sold within the last 6 months. One says it's 6,700, or I'm sorry, 6,007 square feet. The other one,
which one are you referring
I'm
to?
comp one, which is
It's comp one. 7203 Nichols Road.
Nichols Road.
Mhm.
That says on the MLS that it's 7221, okay? If you go over to comp number 2, which is Westminster, which is across the street from me, okay? That says it's, I don't have the exact because I didn't bring it with me, but it's 7,100 plus on the MLS. They have it at 6,061. So we're within the ballpark of when my house was purchased at 5,900 and change. They're saying these are both at 6,000 and change, okay? So we're all apples to apples with that. If that's the case, how did they come up with 7,400 with my property? And now I have the MLS, we have the survey, we have the number now, we know what it is, and we've agreed that's 7,157. That's been an agreement. These other homes are of equal size or larger than my house. And these are across the street, 2 houses down, the square footage was $214 a square foot, okay? The next house right across the street from me sold for $268 a square foot. To me, those are comps. And I tried to get the 2020, my next door neighbor, a comp, and you know what that goes for $205 a square foot. So you have 214, 205, 268 as comps that are right next door to me. One's next door, one's across the street, one's 2 houses down. So it doesn't get any better than that. I have one other comp.
All in 23.
All in 23. The 2020 was my next door neighbor. The other 2 were 2023. The other home that sold on Buttram, which is 1 house down from me, sold in 2023, and the square footage there was about $250 a square foot on Buttram.
Did you provide those comps to the assessor?
I provided the comps of Nichols and Westminster, which are the 2 I've been talking about. The one on Buttram I didn't because I wasn't involved in it.
So the 2 you're talking about is the 7203 Nichols and the 1601 West.
Yeah, which is basically what I have to work with, correct?
Okay, and those are the 2 also that have it, that you say have the square footage.
Correct.
Correct.
Correct, and you can look it up on the
Thank
MLS.
you.
I've also talked to both the owners, know them, and because they're neighbors,
Got it.
to find out what's going on. I've tried to ask, so I had some knowledge walking into this.
Okay.
That's with my comps. So that's where I see. So you asked where I got my number. I'm actually high at 270 square foot in comparative to these comps.
Okay, so what did you say, what did the assessor, in your opinion, take into consideration at the informal when they dropped it almost 400,000?
Well, first of all, the question was, where do we come up with $2.878 million? And I couldn't get an answer for that. Where did that come from? It's like it goes from 2.1 to 2.8.
That was in 22.
There at 22 is
And then it
2,157.
dropped. They dropped it 500,000 last year. Yes.
No, we haven't dropped it yet because this is the discussion.
I'm sorry.
So we're in the midst of it. All they want to talk about is market value, and I said I want to talk about market value and tax.
We don't concern ourselves with tax.
Okay, so we're only going to talk about
We're
market.
only going to take about
Okay.
because
So
of
market
too many
value,
very
I understand.
School districts bond issues.
Sure, I understand.
Right.
So when I said a fair value, instead it was basically $270 a square foot. Okay, you have my house is being remodeled, and the home hasn't been remodeled since 1962. It has an addition they added. Well, they've used paint. It's all hardwood, and so it's very old.
Okay.
So we've gone in there and it is scratched to death. So we thought, okay, when we bought it, we were going to be able to, sand it and all that. You can't do it; it's not thick enough. So we're going through a process now of the age of what it is, but it's as if I'm getting penalized, for saying there was a remodel. Or what? I called up the old owner and the person before and talked to them. I said, when was the remodel? They said there wasn't a remodel. There was an addition, which was a master bedroom with a shower.
That's kind of called a remodel. That's
But it
a
didn't
ceramic.
remodel the house. The rest of the house is basically been painted, and
So did it add on to the square footage?
which is how you came from 5,900 to 71, I guess.
74 or
Well,
71?
it's not 74. We've already, the tax appraiser and I have agreed, and I provided them a survey that shows that it's not. And they actually came back and told me I was off by 10 feet too high. So I said, fine. Fair enough.
So did you answer me, what did the assessor take into consideration that you presented to him when you lowered from 2698 to 2376?
Well, I mean, obviously it had to do with the comps. They wouldn't take my next door neighbor as a comp. They told me they told me up to 4 years, but yet it was sold in 2020. And that's 3 years when we're talking about 23 at the time. Now we're going to 24. So I didn't understand that exactly when it's a next door neighbor. It's a pretty good comp and a larger home. Fair enough. What I did end up really talking to them about was that the comps that they picked, which would be 4, 5, and 6. Okay? Comp number 1 is on Grand Boulevard, which is the most premier street that we have in Oklahoma City.
You mean comp
You mean in your town?
Well, I have,
Excuse me,
I have comp
you mean in your
4.
town?
Comp
Well,
four.
in that town,
In
in
your
town.
town.
Excuse me, I apologize.
Okay, so
In that-
comp
in that area.
4 is 2303 Northwest Court.
These are these are the 3 that they came up with the amount, because if you used the first 3 that they had, you couldn't come up with any comparable. Those were 3 that we had, now it's 3 that he has, right? So he uses 2303 Northwest Grand Boulevard. That's on the golf course, across from the club, the country
Oh, okay.
club, okay?
Yes.
Okay?
Okay, west.
The next one, across from the club. So it sits on 2.5 acres across from
I know the
Oklahoma
house.
City. Yes, I can't compare that. There's not the thing is, if you use,
Was there no adjustment?
I don't agree with the way they adjust to begin with, because they're telling me, and I'll go, let me go further here, okay? The next one is 2412 Northwest Grand Circle, okay?
Yes, I
It's
know.
a newer built home.
Yes.
I know because I lived there 4 years ago,
Right.
okay? I sold a house in 2022 that took me over a year
Right.
to sell. Y'all had it valued at 1.95. I argued and never was able to come to this board on that home. And
Okay,
they told me, no, the 1.95 value is perfect.
okay,
I sold it in 2022 at 1.7 million.
okay,
Okay, I lost money.
okay.
Not only lost money to you all, but lost money at what my purchase price was.
Okay.
Okay? If we take the sale of that home and compare it to this one, because they're the same size, same neighborhood, everything's the same, built the same year, same quality,
Okay.
there's almost a $600,000 difference from one house being on the golf course and one house
Yes.
not being on the golf course.
Yes.
So if that $600,000
Yes.
is not being factored into this amount of what this home is, it's newer, everything about it. So they're not using that, they're not using location. Again, Grand Boulevard.
Right.
And if you go to the very last one, it's a mansion that sits on Country Club Drive on the golf course. It's not a comp. I'm giving you 3 comps that are right next door to me, and you're running a mile away from my house, going on the nicest street in the neighborhood and on the golf course, and trying to use as a comp to support the value of $320 a square foot.
Philosophically, what could those houses ever be used for as a comp?
What?
In your opinion? What?
Houses in the area. So what I did was I looked at what you all used on the tax records
Yes.
as comps. And when you use comps for the properties over on Grand Circle and Grand, you used that area,
Okay.
Grand and Grand Circle, because that's the only way you can, right?
Okay.
So when you come over to my house and you look at the comps that you all used,
Yes.
which you did on the tax
They
records, excuse me, they used, I apologize.
That's all right.
That comes up to an average of $271 per square foot.
Okay.
So these are the comps that they have on the tax record, come up at $271 a square foot, but then they're telling me my house is almost $320 a square foot.
See, I think you're getting hung up on a decision of how much per square foot can a house in a neighborhood sell for.
But that's how,
But you have, it's sort of like doing it in reverse. You're
well,
gonna go forward and say, no house in this neighborhood can go for 244. Well, wait a minute. So we got marble floors and we got gold toilets and we got, you can't do that square footage thing, I think, the way you're trying to do it.
Well, but
Now, we can argue about the comps.
well, the count, I just did, I just did.
Yeah, that,
You can't comp Grand Boulevard, Grand Circle Golf Course to where I live. There's not a home around there that's under $1 million, and I could go 2 blocks from my house, and there's a house for sale today for $321,000.
right,
I'm at the very outskirts of the area.
right.
Okay, so how that they can, and I tried to be reasonable with on the phone. I said, guys, that's not fair. That's not a reasonable comp. So that's how they're getting to the number that they're getting to.
Okay,
So when I gave you my number, I did it from the comps that I gave
right.
and from the comps that they have in the tax records, and you come
I
up
want
with
you
that
to
number.
give me that, so didn't you argue that one of them was, that was used was in
2020.
2020?
They wouldn't allow it.
That's not included in the assessor's comps.
They wouldn't allow it, and I said, why? Because that's too long ago, and I'm like, wait a minute, you won't let me use 2020, my next door neighbor, but yet you're not using the 3 homes that were sold within 100 yards of my home? Those aren't reasonable comps, and you wanna jump over to Grand
Well,
Boulevard.
but he did use the 7203 Nichols and the 1601.
Those are provided by, that we provided, so
So
he
he
used
did
those
use
two,
those.
right, but he wouldn't use, and then the next 4 are the ones that they chose. We didn't get the 2020, that I'm aware of. We did get, I don't know, because the person that did it was unavailable, and I don't know how we came up with this 6905 Northwest Grand Boulevard, but it's also $271 a square foot, which fits in with everything else that's done. So you got the first 3 comps. All I'm sitting here and saying is reason is reason. all
That
right?
last comp that you talked about on Grand Boulevard is
Yes.
east or west of
It's on 6905 Northwest Grand Boulevard. I'm not 100% sure.
east or west of here.
That would be, it would have to be, I would think that would be 69. I don't know. It would have to, it's probably gonna be, west.
I will say it's 8,200 square feet, 8,296, almost 8,300 square
Yeah.
feet, so it's quite a bit bigger.
When mine's 7,100, right, so,
Yeah.
and that's the other thing, they have another comp on here, when you look at the square footage, 7408 is what they've got mine at, which we know is not correct now. But now they're saying, oh, it's okay for them to use one at 6,100, 6,200, and then 9,000. So these aren't good comps, comparable 1 and comparable 2, what they told me, because the square footage isn't equal, but we now know by the MLS they're exactly equal.
Well, but using the ones that you want used, if they used your neighbors, what would you be asking us to set the value at?
Basically what I said, I think what I said is fair is that the 1.93239, that's 270 square foot.
Okay, so, but in 22, you bought this house for $2,175,000.
Yep,
So
21.
21.
in the year 2022. So you want us to value your house less now than it was?
Well, look what just happened in the last house I had over there. Unfortunately, right now, everything's not, did I make a good purchase or not? Right now, it says no. Okay, and I mean, that's what happened to me last time. I got stuck with my job. I had to be here. I had 2 kids in school, and I ran here and had no choice and bought a house in the area to do the things we were doing, and I lost $200,000. But yet you all told me the house on top of that was worth another $150,000. So I want everything here to be apples to apples. That's what I'm asking. I'm asking if a house sells across the street from me or 2 houses down, go look at the pictures. Go look at everything. You want comps, you want actually the exact same size.
What is your house? Let me hear from the assessor. How do you have his house rated? Is it good, fair?
We have Mr. Job's property quality at very good.
Okay, you just use that.
Well, I don't know what very good is. I mean, you got very good, and excellent here, right? So I don't know what very good is, but I know right now I wouldn't put it very good because of what I need to do to that house. But I'm sitting right here going, am I even gonna live there anymore? Because if I go upgrade this house and put in new floors and do these things, he's gonna come over and tell me that my house is worth another $700,000 again. And so I might be leaving.
Is it gonna be new?
It would actually be like everybody else's that are comps. That's my point. And you can see that in the tax records and the pictures from them. So it's just, I'm getting pretty frustrated with the process. Now, I understand.
We'll hear from the assessor.
Mr. Job, purchased a property June of 21 for $2,175,000, which was $365.67 cents a square foot. At the current time, the square footage was 5,948 square feet. The 2023 value was $2,878,000 at 7,408 square feet. 2024 value, $2,698,000 at 7,408 square feet. Mr. Job did provide a sketch with the appraisal, and we lowered it from 7,408 square foot to 7,158 square foot, which is at $332.01 a square foot. So we lowered the value to $2,376,500. I do want to point out that the informal appeal request value, $2,175,000. He's now requesting a value of $1,939,547.
So what was it in the informal?
He requested $2,175,000.
$2,175,000.
Yeah, that was his initial request during the informal. And the new request is $1,939,547.
But you're now at $2,376,500, right?
Yeah, that is based on adjusting the square footage based on this appraisal sketch that was sent in.
Okay, did he accurately represent the comps that you used
So,
by number? Because sometimes you come in here and tell us that you use some different comps.
well, now I do want to point out that 7203 Nichols Road, 1601 Westminster Place, 6905 Northwest Grand Boulevard, 2303 Northwest Grand Boulevard are comps he provided during the informal.
Okay,
And this is the sheet right here that we got with the informal that was provided.
and based upon what he provided, did you run those?
Yeah, we ran 4 of the 6 comps are his that we used in the analysis.
Okay,
I do want to mention that we don't have any kind of information on 1601 Westminster Place about additional square footage being added. We don't see that there is an MLS listing. I'm not denying your case and that it's been added, but we don't have that information.
Like if you pull it up, and I have it right here, if you pull it up, and I give you a picture of it.
Right, but we've got there was no permit information on it, and we rely heavily on permits with Nichols
I
Hills.
understand, so that would go to my question of how did I go from 5,900 to 7,400?
Because there was some square footage added on your property.
In what year?
We saw it back in June of 22, which then has an effect on the value in 23.
There was nothing added in June of 2022.
wait a minute, you gotta let him finish.
So, no, I'm saying we put it on there in June of 22, which has an effect for 23. We noticed that there was additional square footage added back in 2015, and we went back in time and saw that we did not have some square footage on the property accounted for. So when we were doing our every 4-year visual inspection cycle, we saw that there was square footage that was not accounted for, and so we added it.
But you subsequently lowered it to the 7158 after the informal.
Correct, because
That's the reason you made the adjustment to the 2.376.
yes, that is correct. Is we obviously had it too big, and he provided proof.
So we right-sized his property
Yes.
at this point,
Yes,
but you have not addressed comp 1 and comp 2 square footage
because we've got
discrepancies that he's talking about.
correct, because we don't have
You have
any
no record.
kind of information on comp 2. Now, I will point out.
Is that true for comp 2 as well, comp 1 and comp 2?
Well, no. So comp 2, like I was just saying, we don't have any information about the square footage being 7,100, other than maybe what might a listing might say. But
Right.
at the current time, when the sales analyst had this information, he had no kind of information stating that there's been a increase in square footage or any kind of evidence for us to put that
So
in.
can I ask you, what kind of evidence would he be able to provide to correct that? That would be sufficient for you all if that is an accurate statement.
Well, first of all, the homeowner would have to provide that. We can't.
I mean, I have both the MLS listings and everything, and what I'm saying is you told me when my house, you're using two different numbers. So when my house was purchased, I knew it was 7,167 because I was provided a survey. You're telling me the square footage that I bought it at was at 5,905.
No,
Well,
he's
already-
not talking about
he's
my
not talking
No, that's what he originally said.
No,
Yeah, but
no,
he's
no.
good on your property. He's
Okay.
agreed that
No,
your
no,
property
no,
is
but my
7,150.
point is, when I purchased the house, in his opinion, and that is is making the decision, is that I purchased that house knowing it was 5,900 square feet. That would be a significant difference in the cost per square foot. That's not the case. I purchased the house based on the knowledge in the survey that it was 7,167.
No, we moved, don't
But that-
take
yeah,
your
that's-
house.
No, right, but I'm gonna explain something because he's using old and new and then
Oh.
saying there was an addition. Well, if that's correct and they found that out, then why wasn't it put in 2019?
Okay.
Why was it waited till 2022 or 23? And where did the 700,000 or 800,000? I haven't gotten an answer for that.
You could, but you
That's
gotta
my
let him
frustration.
finish his presentation.
I understand. I
You get the
apologize.
last
I
word.
apologize, yeah.
Okay.
So we did not have the technology at the time like we have now to find a lot of this information. I mean, you can laugh all you want, but that's true. There are a lot of properties in Nichols Hills where there's been a lot of square footage information that has gone unnoticed for years. Nichols Hills is a very tough neighborhood to deal with, and we've got the technology now to find information and add it on there. We've got much better technology to go off of. So that technology was used to, up the square footage based on that. And that was during our every 4-year visual inspection cycle. Now, I want to point out,
Can I finish my question about comp 1 and comp 2?
well, I'm trying to get to comp 1.
Okay.
You had mentioned comp 1. We currently have a active permit for 7203 Nichols Road for a $150,000 remodel. So we have not been out there. So if it's finished, that's fantastic. We just haven't been out there yet during our new permit cycle to confirm everything. So it could be totally 7221 square feet. We just haven't gone out there yet to confirm it. And we will go out there and confirm it when it's permits. It's our permit cycle. We could have gotten it changed if maybe the homeowner brought it up, but they're probably like, wait a minute, I'm not gonna tell the assessor right now that our square footage is 7,200 square feet. I'm gonna let them come out and confirm all that. So he could be very well right that it is 7,200 square feet. We just don't have that at the moment.
Did you confirm it from an MLS listing for both comp 1 and 2, the square footage?
Yes, and I've been to both too, so it's very accurate.
Oh, is this the Bible? This MLS? You take that as the gospel?
No, I'm using the MLS because of how they handled mine, right? I mean, still haven't had a question answered. Where did this 7405 come from?
Okay, come on, because I want to get to your medians and your means.
Okay. When whoever was out there at the time, they saw on a vertical aerial of what we call Near Map, which is the greatest aerial mapping site that is out there on the market. And we saw that portion right there, built in 2015, before 2022, that was not there. We didn't have it accurate. Now, it was there physically, but we didn't have it.
Right.
So when we were out there doing our visual inspections, we saw on our near map that we had a major change that needed to take place. And it was based on this square footage that we did not have accounted for. So we included it in 22, even though it was already there in 15. We just happened to catch it at that time. And that's commonplace.
So that's the explanation, the question that he asked, why you increased it from 2022
Yes,
to
because of our visual inspection, our every 4-year visual inspection cycle for this particular area of Nichols Hills. We caught it, we finally added it to the account.
Okay.
The median value of all 6 comps is $2,376,574, which is the 332.01 a square foot. The 6 comp report was the owner's 4 comps. He provided 5 comps. I'll get to the 5th one I didn't use. The owner's 4 comps and 2 of ours. If we take out our comps and just factor in the 4 that he provided, I support a value of $2,407,515. So there was an original remodel on this house for 75% in 2005. Because of the added square footage,
On the subject property?
yeah, on the subject property, there was an original remodel on it in 2005 at 75%. We upped the remodel to 2015 because of the added square footage. Anytime you add square footage to a property, it's automatically going to count as a remodel.
I'm sorry, what was the year of that remodel?
The original or the new? 2005, the original, updated to 2015. And I do want to point out, 1607 Elmhurst Avenue was another comp that was provided during the informal. We can't use that one because there are two houses on the property.
What was the name, the address again?
1607 Elmhurst.
Okay.
We can't use that one in our analysis because there's two houses on the property. So we automatically have those at cost approach. So we can't ever use parcels that have that are on as ag, or if they have if they're residential but they have two properties on it. So we did lower the value based on the appraisal sketch that was provided. We love any kind of information like that. And if we find that we're off in any regard and they provide proof, we're going to lower it. So we did, like I said, initially lower it, and that's currently where we stand.
Now, the supported value of his comps at 2,407,000, which is more than what he's wanting. Did that or did that not include his neighbor? Because he's fixated on the neighbor.
We're not including the neighbor because we can find that's a 2026. If we have nothing to go off of in Nichols Hills and we got to go back as far as 20, well then that'll be the case. But 2020 is too far back, and we know there's been plenty of properties that have sold since 2020.
Do you think you can make an insufficient adjustment to justify the house across the street from the one that's really got him bonkers?
Which one is that?
The comp that you
Well, the 2407 is based off of comps 1, 2, 3, and 4 then. Those are his 4 comps that he provided. But
he just says that's not fair. How do you respond to this?
I mean, we've got it, like I said, every home in Nichols Hill is not going to be the same. You know, it's like going into Baskin and Robbins. You got 31 flavors.
He drew a circle around that nice little area.
Oh, I know.
You could only use as comps houses in that area.
I'm just
You
saying.
make adjustments for proximity to the country club or being on the golf course.
Yeah, we make adjustments for that. Like we make a negative.
But you don't even want the adjustments made. You just say don't even regard those houses.
Well, he's making an adjustment, but I can prove what the cost is. I can prove the golf course is worth almost $600,000 in that area. But he makes a percentage adjustment that doesn't show up on here the same way. I mean, he's also given me where he's made all the adjustments for the homes that I've given you.
Yeah.
And yet that doesn't show up on the tax record for 2024. That's just for his purposes. It's like this all isn't making sense.
Wait. That the adjustments that he
Right.
made.
So if we go just look at like comp 1.
Oh,
okay?
I got
Okay.
it.
It says it's 2.323.
Right.
Okay, and if you go to the tax records,
Right.
it's back down at like 1.8. So he wants to use that on my house, but doesn't want to use it on everybody else's. And I said, we got to have some equality.
And it would be used on everyone else's if it hit the records, is your point.
That's my point.
Okay.
The only thing I'll say at the very end is, if I have 3 homes that have been sold within 100 yards of my home,
Yes.
those are pretty dang good comps in 2023. Okay?
Well,
And they're equal
If-
size.
no,
No,
okay, there
they're
you go.
equal size.
There
I
you
have
go.
one that's larger,
I got
one
it.
that's the same
That's what I was
size,
gonna say.
one that's smaller, one on
Right.
Buttram. With every single one of those houses is within 100 yards of my house.
But you understand, we can't take the veteran one into consideration.
I understand, and I wasn't part of the original, what was given to him and all that, so I've dug into this myself.
Is this you live in this house?
I do now, right now.
Who gave this information? You keep saying that.
I was not here through all this, so it was given to a gentleman with merit.
I got
And he did
I
the
got
work, and I did not like what he did.
Okay, no, I just.
I don't think
wanted
you
to understand.
represented me correctly.
That's
and so
I get it.
I understand, because when I got on the phone and we talked,
Right,
I got very much of the pushback, and I mean, here again, you came up with some random number of 7,400, and you've been billing me for that. You know, my house, it's just, we're not using.
You know, you could just move and
Well, I'm about to. I'm not far from it. You're right. I'm not.
Okay.
All I'm asking
just
is,
kidding.
I understand. I'm just trying to do apples to apples with
Sure.
everything. And I think I got some really good comps. I can't, you know, as a gentleman here before me came in, I can't justify going and putting my house on for $330,000 a square foot right now, because the comps say I'm not going to get that in my area, okay? Now, if I lived on Grand or I lived off the golf course, that's gonna save me a lot because that's gonna maintain my value. So all I can go on is what my house is worth today. And he wants to go off what my house is worth sitting on Grand Avenue. And if it was on Grand Avenue, it'd be worth a lot more. It'd be great, but it's not. So that's kind of where I'm at with comps and the golf course, and I just kind of want what's fair.
Just one final question. What, can you tell me what your opinion is when the assessor said he used your two comps and came up with the two you?
Well, you can't. It's not possible. If you come up with the first two comps that I have, or you come up with the 4 comps that you have on the tax list,
Yes.
tax register that you use, that he uses,
Yes.
to post, that comes up, I have a number here. If you use the 4 homes, 1609 Elmhurst, 1801 Guilford, 1710 Elmhurst, and 1601 Westminster Place. Again, my question to you is, why are we using homes that aren't on my street when the homes have sold right on my street? I don't understand.
That's not what I'm asking.
Okay, but I'm asking you, what I'm saying is, he has come up with all this numbers and is doing it. When I come up at the average square foot is $271.50.
Okay.
So that's where I come up with my
May I
numbers.
mention one more thing? Sorry.
Sure.
So you might be focused on sale price, but we don't necessarily factor in sale price. What we have to do is the market does not stop when a sale happens. We have to take everything into account when it comes to time and adjustments. That's why we go by sale adjusted value. And that's the analysis that we go off of.
And I agree with you, and I understand that 100%, but I can already show you how you messed that up. You told me a house was worth $1.95 million, and I sold it for 1.7. So how did that work out for me?
I mean,
Well, my point is, what I'm gonna pay taxes on is what I can sell that house for right now. I shouldn't be paying taxes on for what you think I can do. I gotta be able to sell, I gotta be able to justify a sale of a house that sold for $214 a foot, $268 a foot, and $258 a foot within 100 yards of my home, and their comparable square footage. And what am I supposed to say? That my house was remodeled 75%, which I don't even know of, and wasn't even told to me, and isn't on any record in 2015?
Because we didn't pick it up at that time.
I'm saying, I don't even have that knowledge. I'd love to see where it is. I know what was done. The master was added, the master was remodeled, and they said they spent 50 grand. Well, if the house is worth $2 million and you did a 75% remodel on the house, don't you think that would cost a little more than $50,000?
No. That's not the point of the 75%. Do you want to explain that? I see what you did.
Well, my point is everything that I have is overvalued right now that they've chosen, whether it's the square footage, or it's the cost I bought it at,
Okay.
everything. And all I'm asking you is I'm providing you homes, 3 homes, that are within 100 yards of my house, and the average square footage there is about $245 a square foot. So how am I gonna walk in and sell my house for $320, which would give me a break even, based on what he has after he's adjusted it? What was it before he adjusted? Almost $380 a foot, I believe?
Your house.
Mhm.
But
I mean,
we're
we're
gonna
coming
have to
up.
close this.
I understand, but I'm just saying
that
that the numbers don't match the sales.
I got it.
And you have to talk about what I've already lost before. Now I'm gonna lose again because somebody else that's walking in there is deciding it's worth more. But it is what it is. It's what you can sell the home for today is what the value is, and that's all I'm asking.
Okay.
So I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you very much for
You're
your time.
Okay, so we're gonna close BOE 458 and we're gonna go to item 3 on the agenda, 926 North Harris. Is that person?
Yes, he has, of course, 60, 61, and 62.
Perfect. How's your meter? Your meter okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I went to put another hour on it.
Okay, so,
The last time I was here by myself.
but we have to do them separately. I understand that you're on the road. Okay, so we're gonna do, R 147-82-30-35, 926 North Harris. Okay, my notes indicate you want a valuation setting of 45,000. The assessor was at 90 and has come down to 86,000. Okay, so tell me about your property.
This one was reassessed by the Board of Equalization back in 2015
Okay,
for $25,000. Well,
Okay.
that disappeared within a couple years. It's went from $25,000 to $90,000 in 9 years.
okay,
And they're basing that, like these other people were saying, on square footage, but 926 is a single bedroom house. So it's occupied by one person, you
okay.
know, and
Where is this house?
off of 10th and Meridian, all of them are on the same street.
Northwest.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Y'all know where Chuck House is?
yes,
Right behind Chuck House.
okay,
This is the house that I originally moved out of my parents' house and bought after high school.
yes,
I paid $5,500 for it.
Okay.
And, you know, when they reassessed it at 25,000, that was rolling it back from, I think, 50 at that time. And, you know, I agree that, you know, the values go up, especially pre-COVID and post-COVID prices are completely different. And, you know, I agree that the value of that house has went up from 25,000, but it's nowhere near 90. It is the lesser of the houses that I own on that block because it's only a one bedroom.
what's the square footage? Mike, what's the square?
844.
844.
Yeah, these are all the little bitty houses on these streets. You know, the one that was recently tore down and remodeled was originally 485 square feet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's one room shack.
Now, it looks like, I have a note about a remodeled in December
Yeah,
23.
of 23.
I went in there and
Hiked it.
it had been flooded. If you see the picture, there's a stem wall running down the front of it.
Yes.
That stem wall had failed and water, everything from the street rolls immediately to the front porch of that house. That stem wall failed. The concrete slab from the original part of the house, that was okay, but the exteriors that were wood just got ran through like a river. So I went in, I fixed the floors, I redid that stem wall, and I put I pulled out all of the old floor, got down to the asbestos in the living room, and re-subfloored it and put that luxury vinyl plank all the way through. You know, if I was going to re-rent it to another person, I wasn't ever going to put carpet back in another rent house.
So was it occupied at all last year?
The guy moved out in October 18th.
And what was the rental on it?
He was paying $600 a month. And it's got to the point now that, you know, I always save December's rent to come down here and give it to taxes. Now it's December's rent and money out of my wallet. You know, if I could keep it to December's rent and maybe put a couple bucks in my wallet, you know, I'd be happy with that. The assessors come in, they adjusted this one a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, and, you know,
90 down to 86.
you know, I appreciate what they did, but that's why I'm here. You know, they use.
But you think the improvements that you made on it don't bring it past $45,000?
With them being rental houses, they get tore up as fast as you fix them.
Okay.
Did you appeal anytime between 2015 and now? This is the first time since 2015.
That's the first time since then. I haven't come to the Board of Equalization. I have appealed and I lost.
Oh, so you did an
Informally.
informal appeal.
Yeah,
but not-
informal appeal and lost. You know, this is the first time that they've actually lowered the prices of it anytime that I've come in. And I was like, man, that's great. But I agree with the people that was before me.
Yes.
They're using comps from houses that are marketable and selling. You know, I heard the terms of, you know, what these houses, the state of them, whether they're fine or excellent or.
Yes.
These are rental houses. None of them qualify for that.
Okay.
You know, 926,
But tell me how you arrived at $45,000 valuation.
I wanted to be fair, they had it at 90, I had it previously assessed at, Board of Equalization at 25. To be fair, let's go somewhere in the middle. I know that the price has gone up from 25, but it's certainly not 90.
Okay.
And, these are not marketable houses. If they were vacant and went on the market for sale, they'd be sold at wholesale prices, because after, renters don't own them. They don't care to do daily maintenance on things. When, I don't get a call until it's catastrophic failure.
Were you like, so was it empty when it flooded?
No, there's somebody in there. Yeah, I got a call that morning. Tanya, I got water coming through my living room, coming through my bedroom.
Okay, let's hear from the assessor.
Okay, Mr. McCollum has owned the property on 926 North Harris since, 1992. We have a year built of 1948, fair quality, 844 square feet. The 2024 notice of values before the notice of decision was $90,000 at $106.64 a square foot. We lowered it down to $86,000, which is at $101.90 a square foot. He is requesting $45,000, which puts it at $53.32 a square foot. The 23 value was $84,000. The 22 value was $54,500. According to the appraiser who did the informal, there were no pictures provided. Owner was emailed asking for additional pictures before the hearing closed or the deadline was up. The median comp report is $86,000, which is where we lowered it to.
Can I stop you? There should be pictures.
No.
There should be pictures for that one.
I'm just going by the email information that was going back and forth with the appraiser, and he said there were no pictures provided. There was no rental information provided during the informal either. I do want to point out, now this, I know that we don't mess with taxable value, but can I bring up something if you don't mind? I do want to point out, and this is going to be really beneficial to you.
Okay.
So even though we have your value at $86,000,
Okay.
you're not paying taxes on that amount. You're currently paying taxes on a number of $40,000. So there's two numbers you always want to look at. Market value is what we think you can get for your property,
Okay.
but you're not paying taxes on that amount. Look at it, if you're going to keep owning this home, look at this home being valued to you currently right now at $40,000. And that's based on your taxable value. You've had this home since '92.
Yeah.
So you've, like I said, that market value next year can go up to $100,000, but your taxable is only going to go up 5% from that.
It goes up that 11% on that form that they send out every May.
Well, you're looking at market value. Market value can go up to however much it wants, and it's reflecting sales in the area. But when it comes to what your tax payments are based on, it's always going to be valued on based on that middle number right there, and that's only going up a max of 5% every year. And we were trying to discuss that with you during the informal, but we weren't able to get to that point. We do, like I said.
The benefit of him buying it for $5,500 in '92, it's only gone up 5% every year.
That still doesn't equal $90,000.
But I do.
But that's not what you're going to
But
pay
why are
taxes
you,
on.
did you just hear him tell you that that is not impacting your tax bill the way you think that it is? People look, you're looking at that like, oh my God, look what they did and look what it's going to do to my taxes.
Yeah.
And he just explained to you it cannot go up more than 5% a year. Not the fair market value, the taxable. And he tells you, you're down to you're at $45,000.
So if you go down one more, so your total taxes for the year, $545. That's based on $40,000. Imagine what your tax payments would be if that taxable value was $86,000.
All right, can we roll that number back in?
What number?
The taxable value.
Did you just hear me say we do not concern ourselves with taxable?
No,
This board?
the 40,000.
We cannot do that. Listen to me. We are here for fair market value. We are not here for taxable value.
I do want to point out
We do
that
not have the authority to change the taxable value.
I do want to point out that you're currently paying $545.91 estimated based on 40 grand. Say if your taxable value was the same as the market value at 86,000, you'd be paying $1,153 in taxes. So I wanted to kind of give you some perspective on this. Market value,
So there's no way that I can lower the taxes on this?
only if you got the market value to go below 40 grand.
I want you to listen to me one more time. Do not ask about taxes. We do not concern ourselves with taxes. This board talks about fair market value. We're gonna debate your request for 45,000 versus their request for 86,000.
And I do want to point out one more thing that
Sure.
little bit, but we did use, the appraiser did use 23 and 22 sales.
Yes.
Use 6 of them. I went ahead and looked at 3 comps using just 23 sales. I can support a lowering even more to 79,000 based on the average of those.
Is that what you'd like to do?
Yeah, so I would recommend lowering the market value to
You wanna
79.5.
agree to that or
I
not?
was gonna ask him about that.
You wanna agree to that? Would you agree to that?
Okay.
Okay, all right. I'll entertain a motion to set the fair market value of BOE number 460 at 79,000.
I will make a motion to set the fair market value for BOE 460, item number 3 on the agenda to 79,000.
And I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Now we'll do your next one. BOE number 461, 1029 North Harris, R147822135. You're requesting a valuation of 55,000. The assessor began at 78,500 and lowered it to 77,000. You got the same argument going here as you had on the other
Yes,
house?
ma'am.
Okay. Let me hear about the comps and the median and mean value, Michael.
Okay, can we go to the, okay. Sorry, can you go to the account detail real quick? Okay, yeah, I wrote down the wrong account number. Okay, I have, we're on 1029 Harris Avenue. Oh, you just want the, sorry.
I didn't like his comps on this one either. It was
You
one
didn't?
21 and 22. There was one 23. Hopefully
The
he's.
assessor's comps?
Mhm.
Did nothing sell in the area line? And what's the square footage on this one? Is it-
694.
Oh,
Yeah, 694 square feet. And yeah, Miss Sellers is right. There's just not a lot of sales. That's why we had to go back to 21 on some of these. So the median value is 77,427. And that's
Median is 75.
75,429. Yes.
So were you able to pull any better comps?
Not on this one. No,
what
I
is
was.
that?
That's the garage of the house that you're,
Well, I do want to point out that
it needs to be.
the burned garage pictures are of not this property.
No, that's my garage. That's the garage next door from the house that just burned next door,
Okay.
but that's my garage.
Okay.
That's the one I couldn't get pictures of inside because the lady's a hoarder and was not comfortable with me taking pictures inside. There's crap stacked to the ceiling in there.
So the burnt garage is not part of this property.
No, that's correct. According to the appraiser who did the appeal, this is not the burned garage pictures are not the correct pictures for this property.
You need him to justify his comps being so old.
No, I'm just trying to understand because that was mentioned several times as part of this property, that the garage and the carport need to be torn down and all of that. And
Yep.
I mean, I suppose the impact that it could have is that it's a visual, right? If somebody's looking to buy the property, they're seeing this burned out garage next door, they
Right.
might not like that.
And the garage in this one is those pictures, it just needs to be knocked down, you know. I wouldn't trust putting a vehicle in it.
Okay, did you,
Yeah, so,
Did you have any 23 sales in that area?
yes, ma'am, yeah, we've only got, I'm just wanna verify that, yes, we've got 123 sale, and that's 1017 North Tabor Avenue, 792 square feet.
So here's what I didn't get, because I did go out to your website on this one, because I was curious, I really did not like these comps. And I did see two other 2023 comps linked on your website, on his property.
Right.
I don't have the adjusted value on them because, your website doesn't do that, right? You guys do that as we do these meetings, but, there was, one that sold for $107,500, one that sold for $135,000, that for 2023. One was November, one was December. So why would you, unfortunately, I don't think I pulled the proximity on those, but the square footage was very similar. So can you help me understand why you wouldn't have captured those when you ran your comps?
Would that raise the median in the median?
I don't know, because I don't know what the adjusted value is.
right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So based on the website,
Mm-hmm.
the website may not necessarily, like you said, come up with that adjusted value.
Right.
So these comps that we were providing had less adjustments than the two that were showing on the website. The website is not gonna do that calculation. And that's why we put that disclaimer on the website that other comps can be used to support or lower your value. Because I don't know, but my guess would probably be those two comps would have more adjustments than the ones that are provided, even though we did have to go a couple of years out. But that's what I would assume.
And that's why we can go back to, at least, if we don't have enough sales, we can go back to 21. We try not to, but with mass appraisal, you can go back that far if need be.
When did I buy that house?
We show that you bought the 2017 purchase of 40,000.
How much?
Yeah.
27,000.
Sorry, 2017 purchase of 40,000.
40.
You want to talk about bringing up the taxable value on this one as well then?
Sure. So if you go to the previous values tab, your current value is 77 grand, but your taxable value is just above 51,000. So you're 77,000 is making your house look good. But as far as what you're paying taxes on, you can ignore that 77,000. Look at it as being currently worth 51,000. Because that's what your tax payments are based on. So for example, let's say your house goes up to 100 grand next year market value for whatever reason. Your taxable is only going to go up 5% from that 51 number. So you're still going to be way under that market value. And the goal of that taxable is to catch the fair market value. So it's going to take forever for it to catch up to there. So you're still going to be paying a lot less in property taxes.
It goes up every year, I can't tell.
What goes up every year?
The property taxes.
Yeah, it shows up when you do get the notice of.
Yeah.
This
This is not a bill, this is just telling you that it's going up 11%.
Right, but there's always a column on there that shows that taxable value, and that's the one that you're paying taxes on. Pay attention to that lower value.
Okay.
Well, I should have requested a lower number then.
And that's important, though, when.
And instead of 55, now request 45.
Okay. We thank you for your presentation and we'll take that into consideration. We'll make our decision on Thursday and send you a
Well, I
letter.
think, do you still have one
He has
more
one more property.
462?
Oh, you have.
She's done with me, but
I'm
we can do the other one.
No, when you sat down, you said two. No, I'm not done with you, so please don't say that. Okay, so we're gonna close BOE 461 and open up BOE 462, 939 Harris, R 1478, 22 145. You are requesting 55,000 and the assessor started out at 86.5 and has dropped it to 71,000.
It's comparable to the house that we just showed with the messed up garage.
It's just one block away.
No, it's on the same street. All of these on the same street. This is 939, and we just did 1039.
But nothing comes in between.
There's three or four, no, there's a couple houses.
Okay,
They're on the same street.
okay.
That one there we call the Rat House. It was vacated February of last year.
Mhm.
It took us a couple months before we could get the smell out of it. You know, y'all get pictures and stuff. Y'all don't have smell-o-vision. You know, this house still stinks.
Of rats?
When I pulled the kitchen cabinet out, there was a dead one underneath of it like that. How these people could be living in that? I go collect rent every month. Oh, everything's fine, everything's fine. When I went in there, the whole bottom was nothing but rat holes. The smell in there was so bad, made my brother vomit.
And how much rent were you getting?
They were paying $6.50,
Okay.
and those kids had been in there 7 or 8 years, and their kids had gotten so big that they had outgrown the house. They had taken some Biden money and moved to, took some stipend money and moved to something bigger. And when they moved out, we would not go in that house. I had to.
This is 939?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And had to tear the dining room ceiling out to get the rat's nest out of the ceiling. Had to tear the wall out in between the kitchen and the garage to get the rat's nest out of there. And when I pulled that kitchen cabinet back, the bases have a 4-inch gap. It's 72 inches long. That 4-inch gap was nothing but a rat's nest. So I had to go in there. That one there needed full. It took me all year to go through there and do everything that needed done on
When did
this.
you complete that?
December, about the time I finished 926 is 4, I was working on both of them across the street from each other at the same time.
Okay, you also mentioned there was no AC and you removed the tornado shelter. Is there still no air conditioning?
That one's window units only. The only one that has AC is 1039, 926, and 939 are window units.
Okay, and you also removed the tornado shelter though.
Yeah, it was a safety hazard.
And that was all completed in 23. Can you show me what the condition is set for on this one? Sorry, on the
And I went in there and put that elastomeric on the back of that roof, that flat roof, to keep it from leaking. It needed everything. Those kids lived in there 7, 8 years, and it was destroyed.
Okay, Mike, what do you have for us? Did you adjusted down 15,000? Were you aware of the improvements?
Yes, but we don't have the improvements factored in for the remodel.
Okay.
But so yeah, Mr. McCollum had purchased this property for $32,000 in a valid arm's length transaction in September of 2013. It's a year built, 1940, fair quality, 891 square feet. This property, like the previous two, were off of North Meridian and Northwest 10th Streets. The 2024 value before the notice of decision was $86,500, which put it at $97.08 a square foot. The new value, $71,000 flat, $79.69 a square foot. He is requesting a value of $55,000 at $61.73 a square foot. Last year's value was $81,000. The 22 and 21 value were at $58,500. Based on the pictures provided, it did not show damage other than it being an older home. The median value of the comps was the reasoning for the lower. We had it at $71,744, so we just lowered it to $71,000. All 6 comps are the same as a subject. So yeah, we are going, but we're using 23 and 22 sales. But the square footages are not too far off from each other, and they're all fair quality, and they're all the same age.
They're all more than a half a mile away though, where they're not any that were closer.
We probably could have gotten closer, but then that would have just whoever did the appraiser that did the appeal probably looked at some properties that might have been closer, but then the adjustments on it probably could have been too crazy out of whack. So he's having to go back a little bit, and he tried to keep it consistent with the age and, similarities in square footage, even if he has to go out a little bit. But that's currently where we're at.
Okay. You get the last word.
I bought that 926 from Walter Rowe. He also owned 3 other houses across the street that all sold, when he died within the last year or two that are on that same street. So, how they can't find comps on that same street for something similar to it. When Walter died, there were 3 of them went up. And I got the Board of Equalization to modify this one to 50,000 when they did 926 in 2015, and that Board of Equalization modification was gone within 2 years.
Can you show those pics again?
We freeze it too.
No, after 2 years, it was gone.
Were those
It's like
pictures
y'all
in a
never even did
packet, or did you
anything.
pull those off of a rental website or something?
Well, the picture, yeah, go ahead.
Those pictures were provided to us by email from him. But this is all we got. We just put it in a Word document and put it on the account. I don't know if it was.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing the pics. Were these after you remodeled them in
Yes, ma'am.
December?
Yeah, I re-drywalled all that garage, put that roofing on, that white roofing on there, and redid all the floors in there. Garage floor, kitchen floor.
Now what are you gonna charge for rent? Now that you fixed it?
I have a girl that moved into it the 1st of January for $800 a month. That's the.
Okay. We're gonna meet on Thursday and set our evaluation, and you'll get a letter, either however the mail travels, Friday or Saturday. Okay, thank you. Okay, close the hearing on 462, and we're ready for the tax exempt case. 463-905 North Rockwell, R 1479-4228.
Hello, Arthur Hogue, how are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
I like the way you handled this meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just impressed.
Okay.
Not trying to butter you up, but that is not gonna, fantastic, I'm just impressed. My client, who's the manager of the property, leaves, Zebra, would like to participate by phone. We've talked to Keisha about that,
You have a number for me?
I do, it's right here, 713 3848.
Hello.
Good morning, this is Ms. Thompson. I'm calling you from the Board of Equalization. I understand you want to participate. I don't understand why. You've got this nice gentleman sitting here, and he looks capable of handling this all by himself.
I'm sure he's more than capable.
Okay.
Just like my wife, she's more than capable.
Oh,
of
I'm
everything.
sure.
But she still pulls me into everything.
Okay.
So Lee and I talked about this yesterday, and he told me about the background of this property. I said, Lee, you can say that better than I can, so why don't I let him just tell you about it, okay?
Okay, you gonna tell me about 905 North Rockwell?
Yes, ma'am.
All righty.
Okay. So this is an affordable housing project. It's Section 8, low income. And are you familiar with these types of properties at all?
Oh, I only represented HUD for about 20 years, so yeah.
Oh, yeah, you know better than I do.
I probably, okay.
Okay, so as you may know, a lot of these Section 8 properties have been around a very long time.
Yes.
And a lot of them don't get much tender loving care and don't get the opportunity to get redone because they can't, they're fixed rents. They're not, the market can go way up. That doesn't mean the income goes way up. And so they don't get all the love that some of the newer projects get.
Yes.
And so we specialize in buying these properties. We own 23 of them across 6 states. And we come in and we have Fannie Mae debt, and they give us good rates because of the fullness of the property. And we work with different states and get property tax exemptions, which helps support the debt on the property and helps us go in and rehabilitate the property and bring in supportive services for the residents. And so by doing that, we have a limited partner, and we structured this the same way we do in Texas and in Kansas and other states. The general partner is a nonprofit. Although they own 0.1, they control the property. They do control it. And so, we set it up to where all the net cash flow, that if there is, by the way, that's if there is any, but if there is any net cash flow, it goes to repay back the loans and fees and what have you on the property. And so I know you guys can't approve these deals before closing, but we did run it by and we sent it in and we tried to do all of our homework before we closed on the project. We closed on it, we resubmitted it again the day of closing, and the exemption got approved. And so, our Fannie Mae loan, agency loan, is based on this exemption. So if we unwind the exemption, it's going to cause us some serious issues with our lending.
Who gave you the exemption?
We submitted it to the office through the lady we submitted to. And I don't think she approved it, but the person we submitted it to was, pull up the email. Hold on. Exemption, Oklahoma. She was very nice.
But what agency?
What agency? Oh. Well, my attorney's sitting there by chance. Do you remember what agency that was?
She's with the assessor's office, Lee.
Yeah, Sharita Wells.
Okay.
Sharita Wells with the county assessor.
Okay.
Larry Stein, Oklahoma County assessor.
Yes.
And so we submitted everything prior to closing to have a look at it, to make sure there were no issues, nobody saw anything wrong with it. Then we submitted at closing, then we got the exemption. We've just been going about our way. We've rehabilitated the property, we got the occupancy up, we're doing everything we set out to do.
So they had the exemption for the prior tax year, Lee?
Yes.
Okay. So this year was denied,
And
correct?
what year was that then? 2022?
Is it 2023 tax year, Lee?
Yes. Yes, sir. I mean, this truly is not a situation where it's a bunch of investors putting money in their pocket or what have you. It is not that type of property.
Okay, so tell me how we count a year. You were exempt for what, the calendar year of 23, and now we're into the calendar year of 24, and you don't have the exemption anymore? Is that what it is? Okay.
Correct,
Yes.
correct.
Okay. And on what basis did you lose your exemption?
Well, it just found that out.
Well, they wouldn't tell me until I think our attorney just found out, but they would never tell me.
Well, I will, Gretchen Crawford and I have been working together for a long time.
Okay.
I have much respect for her and much respect for the assessor's office. So Gretchen and I just talked about it. She told me why it was denied, so she can then state that reason. I can reply to it.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Don't you bear the burden of proof?
I do, but I mean, I gotta tease it up right. I mean, I
Okay.
take all my arguments.
Fair enough. So, that is correct. It was exempt for last year. This was a complicated business deal.
Okay.
And it was submitted to a clerk in the county assessor's office, and she was confused. So I took a look at it this year, and I said, I don't think this meets Title 68, Section 2887, subsection 8, which deals with low-income housing projects. And the statute says, all property of any charitable institution organized or chartered under the laws of this state as a nonprofit or charitable institution, provided the net income from such property is used exclusively within the state for charitable purposes. So the chart, here, are you going to correct this, which was provided to the county assessor. Sorry. You can see how it's papered up. There's lots of limited partnerships, LLCs, et cetera, et cetera. The owner of record is the entity in this top square.
Okay.
Which is a limited partnership. The
Which
charity.
is controlled by the general
I
partner
get to
agrees
talk.
or not.
Yeah, she gets to talk, I'm gonna
Oh, I'm
respond,
sorry.
okay?
I'll shut my mouth, I
Yeah.
apologize.
So, going through this flow chart on the far left, at the very bottom left-hand corner,
Neighborhood housing.
is the only charitable entity involved. The only one. And it only owns 0.1% of the entire LP. So it does not meet the statutory requirement of this very, very nominal interest. And so not all low-income housing projects are exempt simply because they're low-income housing. You've got to meet the statute. So that's when, looking through that, I did not feel comfortable with an exemption on this property. So further, in the packet, go through their limited partnership agreement. On page 1, the character and purpose of the business does not state a charitable purpose. The purpose is to acquire, own, and rehabilitate, finance, and lease a property. Page 2, the general partner, which is the 1% not-for-profit, only had a cash capital contribution of $10, and it confirms only owns 1%. Page 5, profits and losses are allocated according to their partnership interest. That's in subsection 3.1. So again, a 1% interest. Page 6, the management of the partnership. And this, they
I'm
appear
just
to
gonna stay
show,
quiet until you're done and you tell me to talk, okay?
Okay,
Right.
they appear to show that the management control goes to not-for-profit. However, they amended that agreement,
that's the one we got, is
yes, by the First Amendment to the agreement, and that provides that the general partner delegates all of its responsibilities, including those in 5.1, to the limited partner. So they've let loose of all that. Page 8, subsection 6 in the middle, tax exemption. That says that the general partner, which is the 1%, not-for-profit, has the obligation to get a property and ad valorem tax exemption. As well as sales tax, which doesn't concern us, but it just shows what their duty is. Page 10, you can tell that the acquisition of the property at the very bottom, subsection 6, was for investment purposes, not for not-for-profit or charitable purposes. And then really interestingly, on page 14, the general partner can be kicked out for termination or ineligibility for a property tax exemption. So, and then on page 18, you can remove the general partner, which is your 1% not-for-profit, for failure of the partnership to maintain the property tax exemption. So it's clear that the 1% not-for-profit, sole job,
Is that 14 and 15 the last two?
is to procure the exemption.
And the what? Okay, so Neighborhood Housing and Services of Oklahoma. So is your client the limited partnership, or is your client Neighborhood Housing, or all these people on this flow chart your
The
client?
client is the, or it's a partnership, it's a limited partnership.
Am I able to talk, or should I just keep waiting?
Let's wait for Gretchen to finish. When she says she's
Finish.
finished.
No problem, okay?
Well, I would like the opportunity to respond because he really didn't go first, so.
Okay.
Okay, I let her do that and kind of tease it up because we didn't know why the executive was not ready to respond to it, so they had to catch the thing. So before you say something, Lee, because I'll let you chime in here, the board probably already knows this. In a partnership, limited partners have no ability to control. The general partner has control of the partnership. That's a matter of law on general partners. And so the general partner here, although they have 1.1%, that neighborhood housing service club, which is a 501c3, it does control this property. The statute says all property of any charitable institution organized or chartered under the laws of the state is nonprofit. And so I asked Gretchen, while we were sitting here, I said, the general partner controls this property. Do you have any case law that says that's not sufficient? And her answer was that there's no case law on that point. So Lee, I'll let you hand it off to you at this point.
Okay, so, and I'm, we're, obviously Texas is very different than Oklahoma, but in Texas, the state deems control is sufficient. They don't really look at so much ownership, whether it's 10%, 5%, they don't really care about that. It's more control. And we've done it the same way in Kansas. And so that's why we proposed it this way, that's just the way we've done it. And we proposed it that way and we didn't get any pushback. And so we thought that because it was in control, that would suffice. If we needed to change around the whole, which I can't do now because the deal's done, but I would have done that, showing more ownership control. We just kind of did the same way we've done it in other states. But what I will tell you is what you didn't see there is the limited partnership, us, we provide in loans outside of Fannie Mae for all the equity used for the deal, all the additional funds necessary over and beyond the first lien lender we provide to the property. And so that's where we get paid back after the original loan is paid back, is all the additional funds that we loan to the property. So, that's all I was going to say.
What are you required to do? Just once you get the money, you're not required to reinvest or go purchase and provide other low-income housing, right?
What we typically do is buy these properties, reinvest in the property to get it to where it needs to be successful. Anything over and beyond the loan, we just keep pouring into the property until it gets to a certain point. And then after 5 to 10 years, depending on how long we hold it, we will sometimes sell the whole portfolio to a much bigger organization, or sometimes we just keep it. We have a 10-year loan on it, so we put long-term debt on it. We put the longest that we could get.
So Lee,
but there's,
go ahead.
Now I was going to say, these properties barely break even. There's no profit distribution or anything like that. The goal is to aggregate it into a much larger portfolio and create economies of scale with a lot of affordable properties.
So Lee, the money that was put into this property by the limited partners, that's a loan, correct?
Yes.
And so the loan allows the property then to be updated, is that correct? Updated, made more attractive?
Yes. It's updated, so we redo the interiors for the residents, we redo the exterior, and then it affords us to be able to bring supportive services in. So we have like supportive services where we do financial literacy training. In summertime, it's a family property, meal programs for children. I have a whole brochure, by the way, I can send you all the different supportive services we provide.
Right, and so the statute requires the property to have an average 75%, occupancy rate of the people who qualify for this type of housing. All those factors are met. Is that correct?
Yes, when we bought it, I think it was a lot lower. We're at 92% or something like that right now.
So I come back to when
92% occupied by the certain targeted group. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So I come back
all
to
low income.
When I come back to when Ms. Crawford mentioned the various aspects of the partnership agreement, the general partner is the one has control of this property by virtue of being the general partner. The general partner is in control of the property and delegated that under the partnership agreement to one of the limited partners to be the special partner to do that. Is in and out, operation of it.
Yes.
But they still control the general partner as a matter of law. That's the general partner. So we come back to.
They delegate certain decisions, like all the day-to-day stuff they delegate to us. They just, handling matters like this, the rehabilitation, the construction, all the day-to-day operational activities they delegate to us. Leave it to somebody from Texas to come in here and mess things up, right?
I'll be nice.
Regardless of
and not respond. Because I don't know who's worse, the fence sitters of Kansas or the bull of Texas. Okay, so what, let me tell you what does strike me about this.
All right.
Having just done some things for a nonprofit to fund a charter school, I'm sort of familiar with typical language, and I have to agree with counsel for the assessor's office that you don't seem to have a benevolent purpose stated, and it seems to me that it would have been easy to do that if nothing else. So I'm not going to say that this is clearly for profit, because the profit motive, if any, comes way down the road after you've put your capital in it and then transferred it to a larger entity. But that delaying that does not change the character of what your purpose is. So we're going to make our decision on Thursday, but I have half a mind to pass you to another day, because we have a third member of the board who would not be able to vote on this if we made this decision on Thursday. But I will just tell you straight up, as the lawyer on the board, I am not inclined to grant the exemption, and would have no. I would not be offended if the decision got appealed to the district court. I think it would have been a real easy matter to, and I believe you've been honest about your stated purpose. I don't. Your stated purpose just does not sound like owning a Section 8 project just does not qualify you to be tax exempt. There's enough Section 8 housing that is on the tax rolls.
No, I get it. All I would say is that this transaction helped us get additional funds to rehabilitate the property and enhance it, where a lot of these properties just become more decrepit and more decrepit. It just. Okay. But I could also, I don't disagree with you that there should have been language in there. And this was our first deal to do in Oklahoma. And, the way the attorney structured it, I'm upset now, because hindsight, we should have done something different. And I wish I'd had our current attorney. I had to find him through somebody else, but I didn't. And so they use the same language.
He doesn't, is this your attorney sitting in front of me?
Not the one.
It is now. Yeah, the previous attorney was. Yes.
No. I'm just going to crack a joke and say he should have been on the right golf course. He just was not on the right golf course. You'd have found him sooner. That's okay. Just
I got to come play golf in Oklahoma.
You need to cross that Red River. But that's okay. just being funny.
I'm gonna make it worse. I'm a Longhorn, right? But y'all did kill us last year, so.
1 point, 2 points.
So having been reared in a household with a father who was born in Longview, Texas, and a mother who was And then they finished school in Kansas. I get the 3 state.
Was he
I
a-
have allegiance to none of them. I am born in Louisiana. So, okay.
Did your dad go to? Did he go to? What high school did he go to in Longview?
No, he finished in Kansas.
Oh, got it.
Just,
All right.
just
Gosh.
born there. Okay.
All right.
So I'm gonna. I'm gonna.
I could update the language if you like.
No. This is everything that we do is effective 12/31/23. And I'm gonna give the assessor the last word, and then I'm gonna make a decision as to whether I pass you guys off to next week so that Mr. Town can hear it, or whether Ms. Sellers and I will make the decision on Thursday. I just will state straight up and tell you, I'm inclined to agree with what the assessor has denied, but I'll give you the final word.
Thank you. I'm going to take issue with the profit argument.
Okay.
There's a clear incentive here to rehabilitate and do what they're doing.
Yes.
And that's in the form of tax credits. And so that also, I hear, I can't state affirmatively, that if you have a front man, so to speak, or a not-for-profit, it might facilitate obtaining the tax credits. But Mr. Zeben, if I'm pronouncing his name,
Yes, ma'am.
owns a lot of real estate.
Oh.
And he owns market rent dwelling units and not.
I don't own it. I'm sorry. I don't own any market rate properties.
You don't. But anyway, the tax credits
Object
are a
is
benefit.
irrelevant.
No, the tax credit, the point is, tax credits have a benefit. He could also sell them, but, so it's not so altruistic as it seems. I mean, this is a business, clearly. And then the other is that what he does in Texas and Kansas is irrelevant, because Oklahoma has their own set of laws. And it doesn't use the word control. It says ownership. And this is a nominal ownership of a not-for-profit of a teeny 1%. And Mr. Zeben is not a part of the not-for-profit. He's the limited partner. So, and in Oklahoma, exemptions aren't favored. And they are only granted by specific indefinite provisions of law. And so that's why we looked at this and said, we don't think it comports with state law.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you. You gave us an opportunity, and I'll just have to work with my counsel, and hopefully we can find a way to appeal it or restructure it if we have to do that. Again, it's our first deal there in Oklahoma.
Sure.
And so if I need to do it differently, I would have. And shame on me. Just so you know, we did submit this to the assessor before we ever closed. And we said, can you review and please give us feedback if this won't pass the muster? And we didn't get that. So that's why we submitted it closing, because nobody gave us any feedback.
Okay.
So, but that's okay. We gotta learn hard
So which city or county are you in Texas?
in Harris.
Oh, you went south. You're all the way down to you. That's a good thing.
I'm in
Okay.
Houston. Yes, ma'am.
That's
Well, that means she's changing her mind,
that's a
right?
good thing. No, it's just those Dallas people I can't buy. But okay. So
I agree with you on that.
and we don't like the Mavericks. We're here in Thunder territory, so be careful. Okay. All right. Well, I thank you. And but
I
whatever I
appreciate
decide, whether I pass it or Ms. Sellers and I make the decision, you'll get a written confirmation of our decision, however the mail travels.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
so
I appreciate
am I
it.
going to
If there's
send
any
you that?
opportunities to adjust
You're
it,
here.
we'd be happy.
Right,
You'll either get it Friday or
right,
Saturday.
and I represent this out the appeal,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Nice to
And
have
the
met
last-
you.
You too. What I'd say in closing is, if there's any opportunity for us to adjust it, let us know, because the intent is not going to change, and everything we're still doing is not going to change. It's all the same. It's just how we worded it, I believe, was not done correctly.
That'll be fine. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
both. I appreciate y'all's time.
Oh, sure. All right. Okay, so I'm going to close the hearing on BOE number 463, item 6 on the agenda and go to, so are you, who is she?
We have,
Is it, oh, I didn't see that, Tony. What number are you? Is she-
yes, and he's for
Who is number 7 here?
466 right here. And the other two are by phone. So if you want the development,
No, who are these, so which one of you guys is first?
BOE 466, yes.
Nice to meet you.
Appreciate you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Which one are we?
BOE 466, Douglas Development.
Okay. The person at 1001 South Duddingsville, what?
Yes, and then, 464, then the lady that has three will call them.
Hello?
I thought he'd never get
Did you bring that in?
because I was here first. The letter says 9:30.
Yes, but did you look at the agenda? Your item, your item 8 on the agenda.
He was here at 8.
Sorry.
There was no agenda, but anyway, it was
Who
a
was
wasted.
number 7 that we was calling after?
We'll call him after he's done.
Okay, so
Leanne.
you are asking, you said that your property has been vacant and you're asking for a valuation of 600,000. This is number R1501-83000. And the assessor has it at 1,950,000. So tell me why you think the valuation should be 600,000.
I think this is the 5th time we appealed.
Is this the vacant medical building?
It used to be, yes.
Yes, you came 2 years ago.
Well, I'm glad you recognize that I can't.
Yes,
Because I was
I
saying, I
remember
was
you.
here once, twice before.
Yes.
And nothing has changed. And the following year, we appealed again, and I think it was 2021, we had appealed for the 3rd time or 2nd time, and they reduced the value down a couple $100,000.
Okay.
So we moved on, accepted. The following year, we appealed again. And what I get, first of all, I compliment the assessor's office, the lady I work with, she's very competent, very good, and responds very well to us. But the reply has always been, well, reduce your cost of selling it. It's been on the market for many years and they keep saying it's valued at $4 million. Of course, it's valued maybe more than that. Well, my own kids are valued a lot more to me than to you. But that's how I look at it. I've been in this business for over 50 years. May look young, but I'm 85 years old.
Oh.
But that's how long, sure, I go home today, yesterday, my wife said, have you leased it? No, well, you should have leased it 5 years ago, $5, What if I'd known 5 years ago that I'd be here, 5 years later, I would have. But the commercial property is unlike what you've just gone through, all the residential, right? It's two different deals. You buy, you take a chance, you hope to profit from it. We haven't. And by lowering the price, it may not help because it hasn't helped. Because since we applied for the reduction in our taxes, we haven't had any offers. And ridiculous offers we don't even look at. It's valued what it is and maybe a little less than what it is. So 2 years ago, it was reduced by a couple $100,000 and we moved on. This year we again applied. I said, this is our 5th year and we need to look at this. Well, went through the process, came back, the same back, 1.9. Got that there, 1.9?
1.9.
So my questions to the lady I talked on the phone was, bear with me, because if I sell it for more, you get more. If I sold it for less, you probably get less than what you asked for from me. Because you say sell it for 1.6, 1.7. Well, I haven't had the offer. So we're both in it together. If I wait and sell it for more, I wish I leased it for $5 a square foot 5 years ago, but it hasn't happened. And we always hope for better. I have several properties. I invest in the property and take my chances. Then this is what has happened. They came back again quickly, same as last year's 1.9. Going through my file, I have two comps that I compared this to, okay? And I also brought it up on the phone today. The two comps are also my own properties. Within 300 feet from this property to the next. One is 32,000 square feet on a 5-acre lot, and it is assessed at 1.6.
Okay.
The other one is 3 buildings totaling 22,000 square feet, and that's assessed at 1.6. This building has been empty for 5 years, no tenant. It's 22,000 square feet on 3 acres and is assessed at 1.9. Someone hasn't done their homework.
Were they all medical buildings?
They're all medical.
I think I went and looked at this. I think you came year before last. I think I was here this year. Okay.
So my deal is someone didn't do the homework. And I appeal, and I just assume what they sent me is their good investigation of the property, and I've basically taken for the word until I realized that 2 other properties that I've been assessed are assessed less than what the one that's smaller than the other 2 are valued more for 5 years.
Which one of them has the holding? Is there a holding pond on one of these?
Holding pond?
I'm calling it the
No,
drainage.
There is a drainage in between the 2 properties.
Right.
But
I remember.
the holding pond is on the golf course.
Okay, let me hear from the assessor. Is this Sheila's?
This is Sheila Stout. You've been
Yeah,
working
she's
with.
a wonderful person.
Yes, yes. I'm Jason Hill. I'm a valuation analyst.
Okay.
And I'll start off with the information that Sheila said about this. She says the hearing was denied. The property is for sale for $4,436,300 with additional land, 2 acres more or less. That's extra available. That extra 2 acres of land is advertised for sale price of $740,520. I asked the owner if he thought about lowering the asking price, and he said no, that price is set. It will be worth that much to a buyer. He included expense information from the last 3 years, but the property has been vacant, so there is no money coming in for this property. It has been vacant for the last 6 years. Dariush said upgrading will be expensive, but they may eventually change the interior layout. I looked for sales on CoStar, and the only 2023 sales I found either included personal property or were portfolio sales, so I didn't include those in the comps. I found 2022 sales, and the average was $173.82 a square foot. Our value is supported by the listing and the sales. Currently, this building, it's a 21,936 square foot building. And at the price it's currently on for, the $1,950,000, that works out to a total of $88.89 a square foot. Built in 1986, was an old medical office of some sort. And yeah, it's been vacant a long time. Not sure why that is. Seems like it's in a good location.
It's an excellent location. It's a big building, and it's a setup for an old medical. It's old building, very well built, but the interior needs total cutting and redo.
Okay.
We even looked at 2 wrecking companies to come in and tear the place down. It's about $100,000. But again, do I take another risk of another $100,000? I'm hoping someone will come in And there are people that will come in eventually because our location is one of the best. The building is one of the well-built building. No one can build that kind of building at the price that we're asking for. So there's a lot of benefits in holding on to a proper, but I didn't know, you said 6 years, I thought it was 5 years. I didn't know I had held it for so long, because every year we hope for better. Well, from the pandemic to the economy, everything affects commercial rather than residential building. We hope whoever comes in and needs that building, and there has to be someone who will come in, will both benefit you and us, because if we sell it for more, you tax more. If we maintain it and lease it, I'll accept the assessment. This has just gone too far for us on this location. And as I said, my two comparison is to my two other buildings. There's no reason this building that is smaller than the other two properties should be valued $300,000 more than the other. And I passed that on to Sheila also.
I don't see those two comps, the sales or equity used, they didn't sell recently, have they?
No, they haven't, they just the value that we get, and I have the.
So you're looking at like as an equity comp and not a sale. She did not, the comps that she had are all sales comps.
I think I told her that, look at these two properties are valued more, it just doesn't make any sense anymore, We paid $25,000 for this property. For the other two, we paid $22,000 and $21,000.
So you provided those comps to Sheila? For those other two properties that you own that were within 300 square feet?
I brought it up to her attention, but have not applied it. I mean, I'm sure they have a record of it. I mean, if I have a record of it, that county assessor should have a record of it.
In this,
You
this
paid
hearing,
$25,000.
we had
I paid $25,000,
an income and expense that you should have had that you
$45,248 for
provided
this
the last
property
2 years.
What year?
And that was it.
last year.
So the comps
tax,
that were
that's the
provided
tax.
in the package, then these
Okay.
were.
From the assessor's office.
Those were from the assessor's office, but none of them are the properties that he's talking about that were so close to him.
Those are actual sales comps in 2022, and those other two comps, his buildings would be equity comps.
They didn't actually sell.
Right, I understand.
And the mean and the median is pretty close to the sales comps. The median comes in at $173.39 a square foot, and then the mean is $170.35.
Based off the comp, so it's close to.
I'm not challenging the value. I think it's worth more than what I have listed it.
Yes.
But again, wait until I sell it, then you collect my taxes. I wasn't born in this country, but I came to this country and learned that I do have to pay taxes, and I enjoy when I make money. I sure like to pay it. I sure like to, but I don't mind paying it. But if I don't, and nobody listens to me, I feel kind of a little unfair.
Okay.
That one hand does something valued one thing, and the other hand, I have the same properties, and I face this every year, and it's just not fair.
Okay. Thank you.
I just want to confirm with the assessor's office, it's been valued at 1.950 since 22, 23, 22, and 21, correct?
Yep, same
It
since
was lower.
2021.
Yeah, so it was lower from 2.75 in 2020. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Is there any way I could go back and collect what I did?
No.
Okay. Keep that in mind, and I accept that. But you people have to accept the reality of what's happening there. It just doesn't help to send a mail and say, this is what you have to pay.
Okay. Alrighty. We're gonna close you get a letter from us either Friday or Saturday. They'll close the hearing on BOE 466 and is she 4671? She's 471. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well.
Thank you.
It has been educational.
What
and
country are you from?
I'm sorry,
What country are you from?
Iran,
Iran.
yes,
Very nice.
before the revolution, not after. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will.
So we're gonna do 2701 Redbud Lane, R184403-150. What do you have this property valued at?
How do I pronounce your name?
Leanne,
960.
Huffnagel, Miss Huffnagel, okay. Yeah, we have it valued at, 964,000 right now.
And what would you like to have us value the property at?
More in the 550 to 630 range.
Okay, we'll hear from you.
We purchased this home 10 years ago, April 2014, for $350,000. It was about $100 a square foot. As you heard, they've got it listed at $964 after dropping it down with the informal hearing. It was at $1.1 million. So with what they dropped it to, it's $213 a square foot. And after hearing some of the other people this morning, our neighborhood is not Nichols Hills, it's not Oak Tree. The homes there are very modest homes for the most part. There's a couple of larger homes that, and hearing people talk about comps, we bought the house again 10 years ago. There's been one other house sold in our neighborhood since then, probably about 5 or 6 years ago. I believe that went for about $700,000, which is a larger home than ours.
Give me your major intersection mile section.
It's Santa Fe and Sorghum, or north of that.
Okay.
As I said, the homes are pretty modest. There are some in there that need work, have not been tended to. Some have been updated. Ours was built in, I think, 74, 75. Looking at comps, again, the realtor had a hard time finding comps that were really appropriate, again, because there's nothing in our neighborhood that has sold in a while.
Are you on an acreage?
Yes, there's 6 acres. All of the homes have, or most of the homes have 6 acres. One has 20, one has 3, I think, but the rest of them are 6. Our roads are really bad. We can't get the county or the city to fix our roads, but we still pay taxes. The appraiser came in at $860, but then after talking to Mr. Velez in the office, he said that he had the appraiser had our square footage too high. So we added on, starting in 2019, it was a 2.5-year ordeal, added about 1,000 square feet. And so that is why we've gotten tagged. Our property tax is now going to be double what it was last year. Our tax last year was about $4,500, I believe, and it's going to go up with some.
Are you in Edmond or Guthrie School?
We're Edmond. Well, we're Deer Creek School District.
Deer Creek, okay.
Your fair market value in 2023 was $521,000. I don't know what your taxable value was, but taxable value last year was $396,246. So almost $400,000. This year the taxable value is $751, isn't it? Yes. So that's what you're referring to, that's your taxable value. Well, I asked Mr. Velez just an approximate of what our actual property tax will be. Last year it was $49.72, and in 2024 it's projected to be $95.31. Oh. And so I feel like it's an unfair burden, and we've been there 10 years, and I understand we have caps. It can't go more than 5% per year, but since we have the add-on, and inflation, it has gone up. And if you were to look at
again, we're not Deer Creek, we're not Nichols Hill, Nichols Hills or Oak Tree. And what the gentleman was saying about his being over $300 a square foot, at $1 million, it was $1.1 million, it was $248 a square foot, coming down to the 964, that's a little over $200 a square foot. I would like to propose, and we paid, as I said, $350 for it. Our added on cost, again, that was an ordeal, 2.5 years. We employed 2 families to do the remodel. We spent our tax dollars in Edmond paying for things at Lowe's, paying for other workmen. I feel like we paid for this, and now we're getting penalized for trying to make something nice for our family. We have 4 children. Beginning on Saturday, 4 of them will be teenagers. And, we have this very tiny kitchen. We just wanted to add on, make it a nicer kitchen. I went a little overboard with the add-on, adding 1,000 square feet, but it's how the home should be. I mean, it's lovely. It's the size that it needs to be in terms of having a nice kitchen. I would like to suggest even, if you think, the rest of the house has not been remodeled except for painting the bedrooms. The master bedroom we did have retiled. But by and large, if you look at the dining room, the front, we call it the music room, children play violin, and the living room, those have not been updated in 10 years. So I would like to propose if you counted that as still $100 a square foot for the original 3,500 square feet, and go up to the 200 or so for the new addition. Even with that, we're talking, $563,000. And granted, I realize inflation is a thing, but we bought this house 10 years ago to be our forever home. We wanted to raise our kids there, invite friends, welcome friends over, and someday God willing, grandchildren. And this is such a heavy burden that I don't know how people can stay there. We're not millionaires. We were able to afford the house when we bought it, but I feel like we're being penalized because we wanted to make something nice for ourselves. The improvements we made, our neighbors benefit from having a nicer neighborhood. The city benefits from it, but we get penalized with an enormous tax burden. We currently pay $10,000 right now, approximately, for property tax and homeowners insurance. With this new increase, we're going to increase tax. We're going to be paying $15,000 a year. That's $1,250 per month just for taxes and insurance. That's a mortgage payment. I find this to be just a heavy burden. And my sister-in-law sent me a quote from Vladimir Lenin, if I may. It's attributed to him. He's a well-known Marxist. He said, "The way to crush the middle class is to grind them between the millstones of taxation and inflation." And I feel like that is what is happening to us. So I ask this board to take into consideration this adverse effect of doubling a family's taxable, their property tax by this amount. It's the burden that places not only on our family, but it affects our community because we won't have the discretionary income to spend, in our community, go out to dinner, to do, and honestly, forced with the prospect of not being able to afford to live there. Our income has not doubled in this amount of time, but our property taxes have. Our income has not gone up considerably in several years, so.
We'll hear from Michael.
Okay, the Huffnagels purchased their property on 2701 Red Bud Lane in 2014 for $350,000, a valid arm's length transaction. We have the year built as 1972 with an effective year built of 1997. Effective year built is based on the 2023 remodel. We have it currently at 4,393 square feet. It's a good quality because of what was added it added $343,000 worth of new construction value.
I'm sorry, how much?
$343,000. The new construction additions include 1,433 square feet of first and second floor, a garage extension, and 1,344 square feet of balcony. The 2024 value before the notice of decision was $1,115,500, which puts it at $185,917 price per acre. The value after the notice of decision, $964,000, which puts it at $160,667 price per acre. We reduced the value by $151,500. The informal appeal value request was $750,000. The BOE appeal value request $860,000. There were two comps reports provided during the informal one support.
You said the initial request was $750,000. What was the $800,000 fee?
860 is what the paperwork said she was appealing from the BOE, but I believe what she mentioned when we first started was the 550 to 630, so we'll get to that when we come back.
860 was based on what the appraiser came in at. But as I mentioned about how much we spent on the add-on, and then adjusting where, the old part of the house that hasn't been redone, I can see value in that at $200 a square foot or more. So that's why I've adjusted that.
And I will point out that there was an abundance of information provided in the informal. So we did, everything that you did receive is everything that was provided during the informal. So the comparative market analysis and the appraisal. So that was all given to us during the informal. And I was able to look at that. The comparative market analysis comps median value was the 9 properties that were part of that CMA supports an adjusted value of $1,072,794.
Was that using the taxpayer?
Yes, that's using the CMA report, and I looked at all the 9 properties where they range from. There's one that's an excellent quality, one that's a very good quality, or 2 that are very good, and the rest of them are good quality. Now this. Yeah, you'll have the CMA report, but you won't have the actual report that I did. But that, like I said, that supports a value of $1,072,794. That is the sales adjusted value. Now, if I narrow down the comps similar to the square footage of the subject, I get.
Is that before or after the remodel?
Yeah.
This is after the remodel. Yeah. So the 4393 is the subject square footage. The closest square footages that I could find to the subject, I'm using 23400 Northwestern Avenue. That is 0.85 miles away. That's 3,974 square foot. The adjused value is of that property is $1,002,826. 1221 Silver Oaks Drive. That's 1.11 miles away. That's 3,999 square feet. That adjusted out to be $1,054,518. And then 1517 Mesa Trail, 1.17 miles away, 3,997 square feet. That has an adjusted value of $883,991. And I want to mention that the 23400 Northwestern Avenue and the 1517 Mesa Trail, those are 2023 sales. The 1221 Silver Oaks Drive is a December of 22 sale. And of course, with the 3 properties, the median value in there is $1,003,000. And like I said, the appraisal and the CMA was all provided during the informal.
Was the appraisal a 2023 appraisal?
What was the 2023 value?
Well, I'm sorry, I understood she provided an appraisal during the informal.
Yeah, sorry, I'm sorry. Yes.
Because my note showed it dated 2024, what I had seen in the package.
I just had it appraised in April of 24.
Yeah, so it was a 2024
For 860.
appraisal. Not, so was that was not presented to you then in the informal?
This was
But they
presented.
would have, you wouldn't consider that.
Oh, you
because
didn't
it's in
provide that during the
24.
informal, did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But it was dated 2024.
Right, it was, okay, sorry, yes, it was dated
So you could
2024.
not consider that.
Well, I still looked at the, because even though it was dated in 24,
You looked at the comps that
I
were
looked
in
at
there
the comps,
because they
yes.
were sales from 2023.
correct, yes.
Okay.
And when you, is that when you ended up with the median of 1,003,000?
The 1,003,000 is based on a separate report from the appraisal, because they also provided a comparative market analysis separate from the appraisal.
So you adjusted the comps that were provided in her appraisal and came up with the median of the 1,072,072.
Well, now that's just using the CMA.
That's the 9.
Yeah, now I do have one more report. Based on the appraisal comps, now some of these properties are going to be repeats from the CMA.
Right.
Strictly from the appraisal, 23400 Northwestern Avenue and 1221 Silver Oaks Drive were already talked about, but I'll run those again. 23400 Northwestern Avenue has an adjusted value of $1,002,826. 1221 Silver Oaks Drive, $1,054,518. 2 additional ones that were on the appraisal that had not been discussed yet. 3600 at Rogers Drive, 3276 square feet. So it's considerably lower than the subject property square footage wise. Has an adjusted sale price of $1,311,798. And then 5600 New Canaan Road, 3,736 square feet. Again, it's, a lot, not as much as less than the previous one, but that one, $1,171,088 for the adjustment. So you look at the median value of all that, $1,112,803.
I know we don't concern ourselves with the adjusted value, but just for my own edification, can you help me understand how she went from the 300,000 on her taxable value to 700? Was that due to the remodel?
That is due to the new construction value, yeah, because obviously she's got homestead on the property, so she's going up the standard 3%. But when you add value to the property for the next year, it's 3% plus the new construction value.
So any decision we make here today, unless our decision is lower than the 751 adjusted value, it's not going to impact her taxes, right?
That's correct.
Correct, yes.
Not for this year, but it'll go up every year.
Perhaps
at least
could
5%.
impact it. Yeah, it'll
It's
give you a
capped.
cap.
It's capped,
Right.
but
It'll
it'll
impact
continue
the
to
cap.
go up until it reaches that.
Right.
I know this is probably beyond you all, because this is what the law, I assume, is. But I find it just outrageous that we get the burden, as several gentlemen said, that I can see passing that off to the next person who buys the house. But the homeowner that's lived there for 10 years gets that penalty. You're penalizing us for trying to improve our lot in life. And that's wrong. That's just utterly wrong. I mean, I had no idea it would have this impact to fix up our house. No idea at all. I could have seen maybe $1,000 or $2,000 increase, but not a double. Not a nearly 10,000 tax burden on a family of 6 with one income. I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
You like giving the house with 10 or 14 inches?
I homeschool them too.
Oh,
And that's a, another
And
thing
they're
that outside of
just
this,
now teenagers.
my,
Bless you.
80% of our property tax goes towards the public schools, which we don't use, and that's our choice. I do get a library card. That's something that we do support.
Okay. Alrighty, well, we're gonna make our decision on Thursday.
Well, may I ask, in light of
Sure.
the evidence that he has shown, is it gonna be going up from the 751 taxable market value? Because he's indicating, I mean, the final value that, we came with Mr. Velez was the 964 total market value, and he's indicating higher.
I don't know how they do the taxable value, and you said you're in Deer Creek School?
I mean, we're not gonna go above what is stated here, the 751, 133 taxable market value.
I don't believe.
No, so
Okay.
That's still
you're at
what it is.
964. That's where we dropped you for fair market value. So now you're going to be up starting at 3% going forward again from the 751. So as of right now, we have you on a 964, but your tax payments are based on the 751.
Okay, but what she needs to know is when she gets the bill, when you get the bill in November from Butch, is that what it's gonna be?
No, because what we're going to do is the
Butch. You said Butch. Isn't it Larry?
It's
No,
very
it's Butch.
steiny.
Butch Freeman, the treasurer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, treasurer.
The
I was
treasurer.
thinking Larry.
So this, depending on this number, because this number is established every October. So if this number goes up, then you could pay a little bit more in taxes. But if this number goes down, then you could be looking at less. So
What caused
that's
you
just
to,
the estimate right now.
what caused you to reduce it from the 1.1 to the 964?
That was based on the, it was based on one of the comp reports provided during the informal.
But then that doesn't cause you to reduce the 751, or was that a reduced value? I don't know what it was originally.
No, it was not reduced. The 751 stayed the same.
Yeah, we would have to, in order for the taxable value to be reduced, we'd have to drop the market value below that.
The initial market value,
It's not a dollar for a dollar. So sometimes you can have a swing of a couple $100,000. It doesn't affect your tax.
right, it
Right.
it
Your
was
751 is
1.1
based off of
million.
the remodel now.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, but yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, it's such a, as the other gentleman said, what you think that we could sell it for
No.
is, and I know it's different than, but that is where you begin with the taxable market value. It has to come from that increase in the total market value. And what someone may or may not be willing to buy our home for, again, we have no intention of selling it. And for us to be penalized for wanting to improve our home, it's outrageous. I have no other word for it.
May I mention something real quick? Do you by chance have a report of the actual construction costs of the remodel?
I was just looking that up yesterday, and my amount of $280,000 is what I had paid to the contractor.
Okay.
In addition to that, there were some payments that I made to the concrete company, which I don't have in front of me right now. But I would say if I were to ballpark it, I would say it's be about, 300, maybe I don't know where you got your $340,000 amount. I would say that would probably be a fair amount.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure, just because in our office it says what is added will contribute more to the value, and then what it adds more value than it costs to build. So there's always going to be more value involved. So I just was kind of.
But again, if you look at the older part of the house, that's been untouched largely for.
But right, anytime you
20
add
years.
something to the property, you're increasing its worth, like remodel,
But again, it's unrealized income. I don't, sure, my property is increasing in value if I were to sell it and get what you say, but I'm gonna be taxed on something that I have no intention of selling. I don't want to have to sell it. So it's an unrealized income. I don't get any benefit of that until I choose to sell. But I'm getting taxed for it as if I had just bought it. You know, we bought it 10 years ago and it was under $4,000 at the time for the property tax, and it's gone up over $1,000 or so, up and down over the 10 years. But never in my wildest dreams would I think that in 10 years. So if you consider the increase of the $5,000 over a course of time, that's how much I paid for the house. I'm gonna be paying in taxes.
Bro, you're gonna pay on that house as long as you live, whether you have pour anything on it or not.
I know, and that's, I think,
You're renting from the county.
for $10,000, we get the privilege of living in Oklahoma County, gives you the states.
Okay, we're gonna make our decision on Thursday.
Thank you.
Appreciate your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, so are we down to this one person on the phone?
Oh, we had the 2 people on the phone.
Are we going back to 460? Which one did we miss?
464.
464.
Let me call him Jeremy.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is gonna be like when we have.
We're not gonna be able to do 15 in a day.
Who is this?
Jeremy.
Yeah, this is Jeremy.
Hi, this is Ms. Thompson calling from the Board of Equalization. We've had a full house today, so we didn't forget about you. We've been going through since 9:30.
Good.
This is BOE number 464-11919. Is this Eckert Drive?
Yes, it is.
Okay. R141571890 or 40. Okay, so you think your property should be valued at $750,000 and the assessor has it at $953,000. I'll let you go first and tell me how you based your conclusion of 750. Then I'll hear from the assessor. I'll give you the last word, and then we'll make our decision on Thursday, and by mail we'll notify you.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
So there's really nothing on the street that's been sold, that would be close to that. I think most of the stuff is sold for around, I don't know, maybe half that, probably around 400, I think. If you go to like what I bought, I would think would be pretty close to the same area, school district, all that.
When did you buy your house and how much did you pay for it?
But we actually built our house.
Okay.
And so that is probably why the value is kind of hard to determine. So we just moved in last in June, I guess it was. But looking around at stuff that would be in the same school district and all that, I didn't come up with anything I thought would be close to that number. And then using the cost of what it was to build our house, it wasn't close to that $950 either. So.
What was that cost?
Oh, it was around with the land and the house. It was right around. I want to say it's right around 685. If I remember right.
How much land we're talking?
It's 2.5 acres.
Okay. And is this a development where all the houses are sitting on two acres or more?
Yeah, there's a lot of houses on 5 acres. This one's just not 2.5.
Okay. Do you have a mortgage?
I do.
So is that where you got the 685 from, or? No. What's your mortgage?
The mortgage was for $135.
Okay. Okay, let me hear from the assessor.
Mr. Bryant, this is Michael, I actually had your informal appeal. We spoke on the phone before. How you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
Good, sir. Yeah. I apologize. You got to deal with me again now. Yes, Mr. Bryant on 11919 North Ecker Drive. It was a invalid purchase due to a splits and combination back in 2021 for $285. He did build his property. Year built 2022. We have it at good quality. We have it at 42.99 square foot. It was put on full market value for the first time this year as of January 1st of 24. So previously he was on for land only value. The 2024 value and current value right now is at $953,000, and he's currently requesting a value of $750,000.
But 23 was land only?
That is correct.
And what was that?
86, 2.3.
86.
Yep, correct. I do want to. There's two comp reports that I ran, and he's got both of them. So you got the assessors, you got our comps. Well, let me go to his comps first. We got three of them that are going to be closer in distance to his property. The problem we have here is that with him being pretty much at 4,300 square feet, the three properties are going to be much lesser in square footage, 3,344, 3,605, and 3,596, which means the adjustments on them are going to be, quite, different. The owner's, Mr. Bryant's comps have a median value of $805,664. These are, one is a 23 sale, another one is a 22 sale, and another is a 21 sale. And like I said, that supports a value of 805,664 square feet.
What was your mean?
Oh, I did not write down the mean for, did I write down the mean?
For his or for yours?
Oh, no, go ahead.
For his comps,
Go up. This one's his, okay. 809,071.
Okay, so those were adjusted values, okay.
Yep.
And is there a reason you didn't use his because they had larger adjustments?
Yes, because they had larger adjustments. And we currently have this as, his property is considered unplatted. So we had to go out a little bit on this one. And I've got four comps that are going to be, like I said, further out, 3.4 miles, 3.43 miles, 3.56, and 3.39.
Because you have to use unplatted?
Yes, we're using unplatted. And, and his comps are unplatted too, but they're much closer to his.
Okay.
But, and the comps for his, the ages on them are much older. His is a new build, so the comps I'm using are going to be, two of them are 2 years old, one is 1 year old, and the other one is 8 years old. I'm using the same quality at good. I've got 322 sales and 123 sale, all similar in square footage. His is 4,300. The comps I'm using are 4194, 4270, 4176, and 4075. And I have
a lot further away though. They were 3.5 miles away.
Right. And I get a median value of $972,293.
So can you tell me what the adjustments were in total for the original comps versus the first set of comps that you talked about, the 800?
So these are his right here. You've got $228,000 worth of adjustment value for the first comp.
189 to 228. So now let's look at the ones that you based your valuation on. $177 to a negative.
Yep.
197 actually is the high.
Right. So like I said, it's chaotic when you're dealing with unplatted properties, or sometimes sales are a little bit harder to come by, and it's kind of like, dealing with Nichols Hills properties. You're just trying to find what you can and we try to get it to where they're as close to his as possible, even with those, even if some of the adjustments are a little bit crazy.
And his were, you said that 23, 22, and 21.
Correct.
The newer one, the 953 one, were 23 and 22 comps. It was mostly 2022.
Yeah, 322, 123.
Did you try taking a combination, or was there some reason you didn't take a combination of all of them? I know they're so different, but
They're all so different. Maybe I could have combined them, but I have to choose 6. I can't go anything more than 6.
I understand. Yeah. All right.
But the biggest, like Kyle was telling me, is the biggest factor is the age, because the owner's comps, the ages on them are older homes.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest factors. And then, of course, the square footage on them are much smaller than his. So that's currently where I stand at the moment. And I want to mention also that it's located off of Northeast 122nd and North Air Depot.
Okay, we're gonna give you the final word.
Okay, not really sure what to say there. Like I said, to me, I mean, 950 seems like a lot of money. I think most of the houses on the street have sold for around 400-ish. And then the comps that I pulled were just from the next street over, or 2 streets over. So to me, it seemed pretty reasonable. And the cost kind of falls more in line with what I was thinking. I guess those are my final words.
Okay, so. Did you have to have an appraisal done with just a mortgage as small as you've got? And if so, what value did it give?
So I didn't have to have an appraisal done because it wasn't very much.
Okay. Okay, we'll make our decision on Thursday, and you'll get a letter either Friday or Saturday from us.
Okay. All right. Thank you guys for your time.
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Which one's next?
The lady that got all 3 of the last one.
Her name is Sharma. There's your answer.
What number are we starting on then?
68.
468?
68, 69, 70. I cannot believe it's 12.
I knew this is what we were in for.
Because everybody was here.
Yeah.
I actually thought we were gonna get bogged down on
Hello.
the tax exempt, and we didn't.
Sharma?
Yes.
Hi, we're here from the Board of Equalization. Sorry it took us so long to get to you, but we had a full house and everybody's pleading. Okay, so you've got 3 with us, we have to take them one at a time. And the way this goes is I'm gonna let you tell me why you want your value. We'll hear from the assessor, then I'll give you the last word, and then we'll make our decision. We meet on Thursday, and all the cases we've heard all week, we make a decision on valuation, and then a letter will get mailed to you, and you'll either get it Friday or Saturday.
Okay.
Okay, so BOE 468 is 15824. Is this Sonata Drive or Sonador Drive?
Okay.
Or R2090818190. The assessor is 276 and you're at 210.
Okay.
Okay. So tell me how you arrived at 210,000.
So this property, my appeal has been for not comps but equitable value. These properties were purchased
I've been prepared all morning, but I have to step out, so I don't have a lot of the actual details in front of me, but it has all been submitted with the assessor before, but it's based on the equitable value of other properties. These are rental properties that I purchased for a 25% discount at the time of the fair market value. So, and they have not been put any work into it. I provided the condition report that they were purchased in and all the issues that they had with them. So, I came up with my value based on the fact that they will always be less than equitable value or fair market value based on my purchase.
Okay. And what is this one rent for?
I don't, I don't know off the top of my head. I have quite a few, but I can tell you it's 1525. Let me just double check that.
What size house is this?
1712.
Okay.
You know, if you give me 3 minutes, like I said, I've been waiting since 9 a.m. I have to get to my computer. I don't have all the data in front of me. Yeah. But I was under the assumption that all the paperwork that I submitted would be in front of the committee. But I can try and get to it here very quickly.
I'm trying to understand your concept of equitable value rather than fair market value.
Well, equitable value is the fact that when I'm purchasing these properties, let's just say the properties at the time I purchased are worth $200,000. I purchased them for $175, right? Because they have deficiencies in them.
Okay.
So when over time, when the properties are growing at 10%, mine's going to grow at 10% from when I purchased it because it inherently was never at the fair market value. That's why I've always provided my purchase price, which was I purchased at 180,000, I believe, if I'm remembering this correctly.
182 in December of 19.
Yeah. So if you're looking at what the assessors are saying is that in 4 years it's gone up almost 100,000. That's not an equitable value of this property for the condition that was purchased at the time.
Okay. Did you give me your purchase price in year?
So 182,000 in 2019.
Okay. Let me hear from the assessor.
All right. Yep, valid arm's length transaction in 2019 for 182,000. Year built 2014, fair quality, 1,712 square feet. The 2024 value and current right now is 276,000, but you have $161.21 a square foot. Currently requesting a value of 210,000 at $122.66 a square foot. Last year's value was 259,500. In 2022, it was 219,500, and in 21, it was 193,500. The taxpayer did provide an inspection report. Problem is that report was from 2019. And it looks like that inspection report was done prior to the purchase. Yeah, we had a 3-comp report. We ran some 3 comps, and we support a value of $283,914. The subject age is 10 years old. The 3-comp average is 12.3 years. We're located off of North Rockwell and Northwest 150th Street. But yeah, based on the comps, I mean, we currently support the value of where it's at, and we can't really.
What do you have him rated at, condition-wise?
Well, condition's always going to be average unless there's some issues with the home, but the quality, we have it on as fair.
The quality is set as fair.
Correct.
and you didn't make any adjustments because the inspection report he provided. Did he provide any photos or anything?
Yeah, but I mean, they're just like, and those photos are from 2019.
Because he's claiming it was poor condition.
Well, no, it's not.
Was
It's
that,
just,
was that a picture of the property?
sorry. That's the property, yeah. And this was built in 2014. And there's no, I mean, you got standard wear and tear issues like a cracked sidewalk and, I mean, there's really nothing here that screams, oh, I need to be lowered. Everyone has standard wear and tear issues with the house. When you circled a wasp's nest, we all get wasp nests in the summer. But there's really nothing, like I said, it's 2019 standard wear and tear. There's nothing that he circled a picture of an insect. So yeah, there's nothing we can do as far as lowering the value based on what was provided.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. And that's all I have.
Okay, you get the final word.
Just give me 1 second. I'm trying to. You had asked a question about the rent. It's at $1,580. If you apply that percentage for what I'm making on this property based on the assessed value, that would be 3.3%. And based on if I were to use 276, then as far as the inspection report goes, I'm trying to pull that up. Again, I'm frantically trying to do this because I wasn't given an actual time, but the inspection report shows a whole lot more than a wasp nest and cracks that I can. When I spoke to the assessor, I asked the same question about why it's fair, and I didn't quite understand their argument about why it's fair. They just say, well, if you're in a neighborhood and everything's fair, then you're fair. But I don't have any much more to say. Is I'm buying these things in a poor condition, not in a fair condition.
And you're not making improvements.
I'm not arguing the comps, but I'm arguing the fact that it was in a poor condition when I bought it below market, and that's how it should be adjusted over time.
Okay, but did you make any improvements?
I did not.
Okay. Okay, I have your argument, and we're gonna close the hearing on BOE 468. We're at you guys are $60,000 apart. Okay, so we're gonna open the hearing on BOE 469, 6828 Northwest 157. Property R209081 770. The assessor is at 266,000 and you're at 220,000. Okay, we'll hear your argument on this one.
I can go through the same thing, but my arguments are the same.
Okay.
And while the assessor is speaking, I'll try to pull up the inspection report to give you a little bit more detail on it. I can preempt and answer the question that is currently renting for 1660.
Okay. What did you pay for this one and what year?
July 21, 2003. I'm sorry, 203,000.
220. Okay. Mr. Assessor, what was the assessed value for 23 and 22?
Okay, so just to reiterate real quick, the 2024 value is 266,000. 2023 value 250, 500. 2022 2012, or sorry, 212,000, and then 2021 198,000.
Okay. Okay. And what how many comps, did he provide you with comps that you used, or did you just use your own?
No, Mr. Puja did not provide any comps. I do want to say that, yes, so the current value, 266, is at $160.92 a square foot. He is requesting 220,000, which is 133.09 a square foot. It is a 2021 valid purchase of 203,000, built in 2012, fair quality, 1,653 square feet. Mr. Puja did provide an inspection, but it was done before the purchasing of the property, and the inspection pics are from 2021, so they're not current. Average age, the subject age is 12 years old. Average age of the 3 comps we used was 12.3 years. And we're using all 2023 sales. The median comps value is, since we have 3, is 273,329. And this location is off North Rockwell and Northwest 150th.
Can I ask why? Because the median is 273 and you're only asking 266. So why are you so much lower? Why do you allow for that? I'm just curious. Is it because of the increase over 2023? Because that one's coming in at 267, I guess. So maybe you just kind of fall somewhere in between?
Because we can't raise it.
In the informals, we can't raise it higher.
Right. Now, the only time we can increase the value is if the homeowner wants it increased.
All right, so that gets set first, then they appeal, and then you guys go in and pull the comps to justify what it was originally set at. Then.
Right.
So that's the reason
Correct.
why you see those discrepancies.
Correct.
You didn't see the comps before the value was set?
No.
Okay, so your statement is the same on this one as the other one that you bought it as sort of as an as-is?
Correct. At the time, I have the report up. I don't think it was fair when the report was being described last time by Watts that this is a 48-page report. I recall the tenant at the time, there was a tenant in there at the time was being evicted for it to be a dilapidated state, and I can pull court records to show you that they were evicted legally. If you look at the grading, this has almost a 45-degree down slope from the backyard.
Now, are you on this one, or are you back on the one we closed, or are you closed out?
I'm on this one, 1628. I thought I submitted this report as well.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But
So
you understand, you need to
45.
show, when you present these things in the informal, you should show current pictures.
Well, I spent a lot of time with the person, and they didn't want to even talk about it. They were like, "Well, we're just going off the comp." So I can only do what I advise if that helps, but I'll keep that in mind next time. But yeah.
Yeah, if you can show current comps or a valid appraisal, or current pictures, things of that nature, those are the kinds of things that help us when we do our evaluation.
Okay. What I would do is next time is I have these pictures upon acquisition. Every year I'll show the pictures and show that nothing's changed.
Well, but if you acquired it in 2021, though, and then if you'll take new pictures that are dated 2023, for instance, since we're evaluating for 2023.
Right, and like I said, I assume that I'm saying this and nothing has changed. But yes, I will do that. I appreciate the feedback.
And can you tell me again, what did you say the rent was on this property? I apologize, I didn't write that down.
Yeah, no problem. It's 1660.
1660.
Yeah. Tons of wood rots, cracks. There's issues with the roof. You'll see issues with the roof. Lot of structural. You'll see the doors have been circled. Gutters are dirty. Again, landscaping was a big problem with this one because, like I said, for some reason the backyard slopes down 45 degrees down into where the house is. So there's a lot of cooling that happens over there, creating issues. And the air heating, you'll see insulation, condense lines are damaged, furnace, there's issues. So again, I don't know if I need to report there.
No, that's okay.
And I can take the feedback that next time I should provide pictures more current. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Okay. Alrighty, well, we will close the hearing on 469 and do your last one, which is BOE 470, 15913 Hardwick Road, R129941460. The assessor is at $284,500 and you are at $220,000. Is this in the same neighborhood?
No, this is a different one.
Okay,
The other two were in the same neighborhood, this is a different neighborhood.
okay.
Again, I'll let the assessor go ahead with his argument about the equitable condition of the house.
Okay, tell me what this is near.
This is off of, this is in Edmond across from where the crest is in that area.
Oh, okay.
And this one rents for, this is Hardwick, right?
Yes.
This rents for, $17.90.
Okay.
And the fair market value rent is close to $2,000.
So you're under rent.
Yeah, and that can be easily confirmed.
Okay.
Is this?
But is $300 so far off that you can't use this as a tax write-off?
Wasn't he asking 220 and the assessor's at
'Cause they-
284?
IRS won't let you
Yeah, 284.
when it's a gift.
No,
Okay,
no.
it's close enough, okay. What, sorry, what did that say?
That's all right, go ahead.
Okay, Mike.
All right, so this one is 15913 Hardwick Road. It was a 2020 valid purchase of 202,500. Year built 2001, good quality, 1,965 square feet. The current value, 284,500, which puts it at 144.78 a square foot. The requested value is 220, which is a 111.96 a square foot. Location is Northwest 164th and North Santa Fe. The initial comp report that was provided during the informal, ignore that because two of the properties were duplexes. And so we had to throw those out. It supported a value of 287,781, but that's irrelevant because two of the properties were duplexes. So I went ahead and ran another report that obviously y'all didn't get. I did this on my own. And I will leave this with you if you'd like. These are all 2023 sales. They were 0.34, 0.06, 0.32, 0.12, 0.12, and 0.40 miles from the subject property. And they support a median value of $298,180, which puts it at $151.75 a square foot. The average age of the comps, 22 years. The average age of the comps for the one I ran is 20.8. The subject is 23 years. There was no property inspection report included with this property, but more than likely, if it was, I'm assuming it was probably going to be way out of date. But no, I've got nothing further other than we currently support the value that it's at.
Can I have a copy?
Yeah, I got one, but you could go ahead and take that.
Okay, you get the final word on this one.
I'm not quite sure about the property inspection report didn't make it. Can I just ask a question I asked?
Sure.
So which value is higher, fair or good?
Good, it's excellent, fair, it's excellent, good, fair,
We have
average.
We have excellent, very good. Technically, we have excellent, very good plus, very good, good plus, good, average plus, average, and then it goes to fair and then poor and then low.
Okay, thank you. And I again was questioning, whether this is good or fair based on the report. Obviously, the report.
This one is good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and that's what I questioned with the initial investor that I talked to, that it should be fair so that we have that delta that I talked about when I acquired them based on the report. We did get to the meeting of the minds, which is why we're in this appeal. Unfortunately, again, there's two problems with this one is you don't even have the inspection report, it's just we don't have the latest pictures. But again, it's renting from below market, and I bought it from below market. Had several issues with the fascia, the roofing, the structure, the landscaping, the way the property is positioned within the neighborhood. It had flooding in its storm shelter, which unfortunately has not been addressed. So yes, a lot of that is in there, so either the argument is below market and it should be assessed fair. Again, I am determining my value based on a fair increase from where I bought it from instead of showing $100,000 increase in 3 to 4 years.
Eleanor, can I say one more thing real quick?
The purchase was 202, so you're 202 to 84 is not exactly 100, but I see what you're
I
saying.
know, I was rounding numbers, I think the very first one was 100. This is,
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
we're still talking about $90,000, $80,000
Right.
in 3 years. And my rented below market.
Okay.
I just want to reiterate something real quick that the quality of the home is good quality. Condition for a standard, full functioning home in Oklahoma County is going to be average. Now, if it's on for something under than average, then that means there's going to be some negative adjustments made to the property due to, considerable condition issues. So if it's on for fair, or if it's on for fair, then there's significant issues with it. If it's on for poor, typically you're going to look at a salvage property. But condition, for the most part, is going to be average. It's the quality that we have different grades on.
Well, this one was rated good.
Yes, ma'am.
He believes it should be rated fair.
Do you disagree now that he's giving you the distinction between condition and quality? Okay.
Yeah.
You still disagree?
Yes, I disagree.
Okay, I just want to know. Okay. Okay, thank you. We're gonna meet
Thank you all.
We're gonna meet on Friday, so you'll hear from us, on Thursday, so you'll hear from us a couple of days from that.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Have a good day.
Okay.
Close the meeting. I don't know if we want to bring this up here, but we probably don't want to do this many when we have people coming in for these meetings that aren't part of Ryan. We don't want to do this many in a day again in the future.
That's correct.
Yeah, I wouldn't do any more than 10, maybe.
If they're gonna all come in.
Well, then I know these are prior to, before Ryan's second.
No, the Ryans are fine.
I'm just
Ryan
saying
would do it
before-
for 15, but yeah.
Before Ryan had before the second came for his round, these people were waiting before that.
Oh, I see.
So these are people, you're just trying to get them in because they've been waiting for a long time. But, but then what happens is like him, he ends up waiting for 3 hours before we call him, right? Or people sit in the audience waiting for 3 hours. So
Well, I know he said that he had a meeting at 10:30, so I didn't know what time the meeting was going to be, and he thinks he was going to be here right at 9:30.
Yeah, but it's just a lot for us to hear 3 hours in one day, and now we've got to go back and review and make decisions on all of these.
Yeah, I think
they're a lot more complex when it's not, when it's not people doing the same thing over and over and over again.
And then when we mix commercial and residential. Okay, I think we'll keep, the tax exempt on the agenda, and we'll make a decision on Thursday. Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, guys.